Welcome into tonight's Ryco Performance Monday night top split action from the Nashville Superspeedway here in Lebanon, Tennessee. I'm Austin Edstrom standing alongside Taylor Burris, and we've got Austin Derbyshire behind the production booth. As always, Taylor, Nashville's a pretty interesting racetrack, a little bit different than what we see on the schedule most weeks, a little bit under a mile and a half, concrete banked oval, shaped like a normal mile and a half. So what do you expect out there with this next-gen car out on the racetrack tonight? I think it's going to be a pretty interesting one.
Well, it is, as we are just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. These drivers are going to be having a little bit of fun. Take Kentucky Speedway, but less bumpy. This track is going to be fun, exciting, and put on a lot of great racing throughout the year. So we're going to see how this will play out, especially now that the NASCAR Cup Series has made its return to Nashville, and we'll see the exciting action here once again. But the big thing to keep in mind tonight as well, this is a race leading up to the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series tomorrow night. And a lot of heavy hitters are coming out here to compete and test their might to see if they're ready for tomorrow's big show.
Yeah, that might be an understatement. I believe we've got 8 pros in the field here tonight. So we got a spicy one in store for us tonight, I gotta say. We're gonna move into our broadcast picks as qualifying has just ended. I'm gonna go with Briar LaPrade, starting a little bit further back tonight. Did not put down a qualifying lap, but I think he's gonna work his way up to the front and put on a show.
I'm going to go with a driver who's needs a little bit of luck, but you know what? I think he's got what it takes. I'm going to go with Ryco Falla, the multi-series champion.
Let's see who Austin Derbyshire picked. It looks like he went with Garrett Lowe. That's a pretty good pick. I like that pick. Did Garrett put down no, he didn't put down a qualifying time either. So we got a couple guys coming from the back that we got to pay attention to. A good chunk of these guys looking to find out what their cars do in traffic before their Coke Series race tomorrow night. Looking down at the starting lineup, we've got Ryan Loser running a 29.872, leading the way, and he beats Garrett Maines by just about 7/10 of a second. Nicholas Roman is going to be starting in third with Patrick Gitter on his outside in fourth. Joshua Watson lines up on the inside of row number 3 with Michael Mitchum on his outside in sixth. Jacob Schneider lines up in seventh with Johan Seminario in eighth. Paul Bergoli lines up row number 5 with Tyler Gary on his outside.
In a row number 6, we'll see Brandon Belke versus Joseph in 12th position. Matt DiCiani will be starting in 13th with Derek Heitman 14th. Miller Bonds in the 15th position alongside Shane Davis in 16th. We'll find Ryco Falla and Scott Perfetti in row number 9 with rounding out your top 20, Zach Novak and James Howard.
21st is going to be Tommy Gossett with Michael Conti starting on his outside in 22nd. Matt Busa lines up in 23rd with Garrett Lowe in 24th. Briar LaPrade in 25th and Brandon Himmel in 26th. The last 5 or so runners there did not put down a qualifying time, so got to pay attention to a couple of those pros, those heavy hitters that Taylor mentioned, coming up from the back of the pack.
Absolutely, here we're going to see the excitement kick up as we wait for Luza and Maines to come out onto the track. There's Garrett Maines. He's going to make his way out, so we'll see how this plays out. But one thing we got to keep in mind, though, is this is a big test night for these drivers in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. This is a chance for them to make sure they can see what adjustments they need to make in order to come out on top with a good run for tomorrow's night's show. So this is going to be critical. This is what we expect to see during these eNASCAR weeks, where they will definitely make some adjustments, see what they feel comfortable with before they hit to the track tomorrow evening.
Yeah, you might run this race for all types of reasons. I feel like if you are absolutely sure you've nailed the setup, you're probably not running tonight, unless you're Garrett Maines because he runs every week on Monday night. But most of these guys, I feel like if you've absolutely got the setup nailed, you're absolutely positive about it, you're probably not running it in the race because you don't want to show too much. You don't want to show your full hand. I imagine if you're in this race, if you're a pro, maybe you're a little iffy on the setup, or maybe you're in a very, very tight points battle. So I just think that there's a couple guys in the field that are just trying to get a measuring stick for tomorrow night because they're just maybe not so sure about how they're stacking up.
Yeah, they got to do a little bit of adjustments here to see what they can do. And I say for a couple of these drivers, we're going to see a lot of heavy hitters who are going to try to work their way up to the field. And for some of them who are starting towards the back, this is a great opportunity for them to see how well their car handles in traffic.
And that iRacing pace car is pulled off down to pit lane. And we're under the green flag for the first time tonight. Ryan Luza leading us down to the green flag, and we're racing from the Nashville Superspeedway.
Field already getting themselves up to speed, side by side, 2 by 2, all the way back through the top 20 as they work their way out of turn number 1. And so far, everyone just trying to mind their P's and Q's. 100 laps, a lot of give and take is going to have to come into play as one car way back, Tommy Gotts, is going to go all the way to the tail end of the field to get himself going. And he's going to have to see what he has to do to fight his way up to the top as they're side by side at the front of the field between Luza and Maines.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of tire saving here tonight. A lot of guys running that bottom side, just trying to save that right front tire, let it live the entire run. But if you're side by side for the race lead, like Garrett Maines and Ryan Luza are right now, you're not going to give it up because the clean air is that much more of an advantage on the clean tires. Just being able to get through the corner nice and easy with the air on your nose is so much better than riding in second place in the same line as the leader. So they're going to be fighting hard for it for the first couple laps until one of them finally gets the move off of one of these corners. Maines finally peeking ahead. I think he's got it done out of 4.
He certainly does. How about Michael Mitchum also moving up into the top 2 as well? If he'll go around the outside, which is the preferred line for the time being. Patrick Gitter also going to try to follow suit off turn number 2 as they work their way off turn number 2 and side by side for third as Gitter gets the momentum on his side.
Yeah, that's kind of the penalty for starting on the pole these days. I feel like more times than not, we come out here and the pole sitter ends up getting swamped on the race start. And Ryan Luza's no slouch. You know, that's a pro driver right there getting shuffled back to 4th from the pole. It almost seems like the inside is a disadvantage whenever you have these even starts where you have to start on the green flag rather than the leader starting it.
Absolutely here as he will now have to battle with the driver of Michael Mitchum. He'll look to the inside, side by side, and Gitter will get the momentum to get up to second. Can't quite clear him just yet, but he's going to try to push Mitchum up the racetrack just a little bit to get the door open for him and set himself for a side-by-side battle for second as everyone else starts to go single file inside the top 10 as they work their way across the start-finish line. The closest battle side-by-side for position is the battle for P10 between the drivers of Derek Heitman and Johan Seminario.
Yeah, the racing line that we just saw down the front straightaway was very reminiscent of the NASCAR Ignition trailer, where they look like they're on rails. And here around Nashville, everybody's sticking to the exact same line. There's nowhere to go. I'm telling you, I'm watching the rear chase cam on Garrett Maines right now. Through the middle of the corner, everybody is running the exact same line around this place. No deviation from it whatsoever. A lot of tire saving. Finally, we see them move side by side here, coming down into turn number 1, a change of position. But the only time they're moving off the bottom is if they're side by side.
Side by side for position here as we watch the O2 machine try to hold on as contact to the outside wall right there will happen as Jacob Schneider is trying to negotiate through the field. Tyler Gary dropping further back as he battles with Seminario for position, and they're going to make it through so far clean and green as Joseph Squared and James Houghton battle for 12th.
Yeah, Gary found the fence coming out of turn number 2, able to hang on to it. Hopeful there's no wheel damage onto that thing. You know, whenever you hit the wall in these things, it's just a 50-50 chance on whether you've bent the front end of it up. But Tyler Gary looking pretty good still on the inside of Johan here, not giving up too much time. I don't think he's going to find a hole back in line, give himself an opportunity to kind of cool those tires back down and get back into a rhythm.
As we watch the Joseph Squared machine going up against James Houghton as he is now in his Ryco colors instead of the Punisher colors we're normally used to seeing him in, as he will try to work his way around the outside of Paul Brigoli up ahead of him. So far, no opening just yet as here comes Michael Conti around the outside.
Yeah, racing hard further back in the pack. Conti started at the back, did not put a qualifying time in. 22nd place starting position. He's moving up to 13th around the outside of Joseph Squared, coming down into turn number 3. And looking to the outside of Paul Brigoli. Look at that run from Michael Conti through 3 and 4.
You're right on board with the WR1 chassis, number 8 for Junior Motorsports around the outside. Conti gets a good run here around, but he's going to get held up by the 42 of the Money Lap machine as they come through the middle of turn 1. He'll wash up the track just a little bit as he will get the advantage on Brigoli and sets his sights on Tyler Gary just up ahead of him. He'll dive to the bottom of the racetrack as here comes a couple of more drivers. Tyler Gary is now going to give way to Michael Conti as Alfala, Bakey, and a couple of other drivers try to hunt their way into the top 10.
Yeah, Conti is just pushing forward through this field. I didn't expect anybody to do it so quick. We talked about it's a hard track to pass. You don't want to burn up the tires too quick. Is it a penalty trying to push too hard? But we've got a couple guys. Derek Heitman from 14th to 8th, James Houghton 20th to 10th, and Michael Conti 22nd to 11th. And that's just the first 10 laps. So I'm still interested to see on how the tires shake out, whether they're pushing a little bit too hard, but so far so good for these guys. A little stack up coming out of turn number 4. Heitman caught in the middle there.
Yeah, Heitman is stuck right there in the middle of the racetrack, but he's going to gather it back up, find his opening, and get settled back into the field. He's currently sitting in the 9th position, just outside the top, inside the top 10 by a little bit. As here comes some hard chargers now. The 41 machine gets a good run. That's James Houghton. He wants his shot of going further up the field as he tries to stay inside the top 10. As here comes down to the inside, the driver, of course, of Johan Seminario to the inside of his team, Conti, team boss of Michael Conti.
Hey, Johan trying to hang on. Conti's going to be able to take that spot and get to the outside of Heitman. Coming down the front straightaway, Conti is just making moves, man. From the back of the pack, look at him on the outside of the racetrack. The only one really making that work at this point in the race. Just about got to the outside of Schneider. They're too wide in front of him. Could present an opportunity here to Conti if he plays his cards right. Coming down into turn 3, big battle between 3 Ryco cars, stacking them all up. Coming out of turn number 4, Houghton leading the way. Schneider tucked up his inside, trying to take the position.
He certainly is trying his best, but right now he can't seem to get the run he needs at the moment. It's kind of stalled out for him in this stage of the race. We're watching him now as he tries to go around to the inside. Conti finds his opening. It's 2 by 2 up ahead of him as they work their way through. It's a sea of red and gray machines of the Conti, or of the Ryco Performance team, as Conti is just stuck in it. He's got a couple of Conti drivers behind him, but he's still got to fight his way through this sea of red.
Yeah, he's got 4 of them right in front of him that he's got to get by. I mean, that's a pretty daunting sight. You just see the same paint scheme over and over and over and over again. And I've been crying and complaining week in and week out about Miller Bonds and Joseph Square's paint schemes looking the same. And old Ken Byron came through here and gave me the big old middle finger, didn't he?
Well, at least you can tell the numbers apart a little bit better.
Yeah, I can see the numbers.
You can see the numbers now. Oh, you look, there's Houghton with a green number, and then there you see Miller with the blue number. So we're doing good.
I mean, you're seeing minor differences. I'm still, Miller Bonds and Joseph Square are still going to give me troubles because one's 12 and one's 20, and for some reason I can't differentiate the twos.
Tough break for Shane Davis. He had a little bit of issues with his connectivity, so he is back in the race, but he is down 4 laps in 26, so a tough break for Shane Davis, looking to try to have a good run here tonight as we pick up the field, and we'll keep an eye. Gitter trying to chase down Garrett Main still as we watch this battle here with of Joshua Watson, Johan Seminario, Ray Alfala, and of course Derek Heitman in the mix as they come across the line. 15 laps on the board.
Conti's disposed of one of the Ryco cars. Heitman following through. Watson starting to fall off just ever so slightly, stuck down on the bottom of the racetrack now. Looks like the groove is kind of moving up a little bit. You want to pass on the outside. If you get past, put them on the inside and use that outside line as a defense. I still think if you're single file able to run your own race, you want to probably wrap that bottom side. But if you're stuck in that 2-wide situation, or you see an opportunity to get to the outside of somebody like Conti's doing around Jacob Schneider right now, you absolutely put your nose up there and you take it.
You absolutely have to take it when you find that opening and you find that run on your side here. As we watch Michael Conti go around the outside, he found the opening. He's going to try and take it to get around Jacob Schneider for position as they come off of turn number 2. Almost taps the outside wall as he will now see Schneider give way to the 7th spot. Now sets his sights on Nicholas Vroman for position. Luza up ahead as Vroman gets right on the back bumper of Luza, as a little bit of trouble further back. We got on the mics there as Brandon Bakey might have had an issue, or it could have been someone else as they're trying to negotiate through this traffic.
Luza trying to get the outside of Mitchum here through turns 1 and 2. He's gotten to that right rear quarter panel, and like I said, this seems to be all you need to do is get to the right rear, and you're absolutely taking the spot. I mean, it's like being stuck on the outside at Martinsville in the old day. If you're stuck out there, you're losing 3, 4, 5 positions. Here, if you're stuck on the inside, you're losing 3, 4, 5 if they're all lined up. But we got a battle for the race lead. Patrick Gitter has stormed up to the back bumper of Garrett Maines. I see a little bit of scrapage on the paint of the right front of Garrett Maines. He might have found the fence.
He might have just a little bit, but he's still racing for position, and he's going to fight hard. It's Ryco versus Team Conti as they come up to the front of the field here. These two have been at it for a majority of the season at certain points in the race, as here comes Gitter down to the inside. He showed the nose. Can't quite make it work. He'll have to think about it again here as Garrett Maines starts to pull away just a little bit in order to try to chase down and get a little bit of a breathing room from Patrick Gitter.
Working lap 19, finishing that one up, coming over to 20, about a fifth of the race done and dusted. It's been all clean and green so far. Patrick Gitter finding himself up to the back bumper of Garrett Maines. Seems that 21 is just a little bit quicker here in the mid-run stage. Sometimes you see, though, a car will fall off in the mid-run and then really, really take off. Maybe they go through a little bit of a tight stage in the middle, and then that thing loosens up and feels very neutral through the exit of the last end of the run. So maybe that's what Garrett Maines is hoping for. But I'd be a little bit worried that maybe he's just worn off those tires a little bit too much. I was noticing in the first couple laps, he was sliding ever so slightly more than second and third behind him, even whenever they were side by side. He might have pushed just ever so too slightly.
Well, one driver who has not absolutely tore his tires up and wasted his equipment, that is the driver of Michael Conti from 22nd. He is now inside the top 5. He just got around Ryan Luza for position. Now he's got to get by the 2 Ryco drivers of Houghton and Vroman, and then the Conti driver of Gitter before he has his sights set on race leader. You ride on board with the Conti driver of Michael Conti as he works his way through the middle of turn 1 and 2. Look how much momentum he gains through right about here. He gets a good run. He can close the gap. He's got a little bit of a toe from the draft up ahead of him to where he can keep pace, and then he will send it on in just past those barriers right there and send it on in. Gets a good run, and he is really trying to chase down your top 4.
This pace is honestly pretty ridiculous. I mean, he's come from 22nd to 5th, and it's only 22 laps, and he's still just as quick as the guys in front of him. I mean, I'm shocked. He's still stuck in that dirty air. He's pushed through so many people. And they're about to get side by side in front of him, and he's going to have another opportunity. Vroman looking to the inside of Houghton coming off a turn number 2, trying to change hands. That 3rd place position. The inside's been tough to make the move, but Houghton gives it to him.
Yeah, Houghton being a little bit smart, taking care of his equipment this early on the stage. I think for some of this here, we're seeing that at certain stages, around lap 20 to 30 is when the tires and everything go a little bit through a change, and you have to make adjustments in your driving to take care of your equipment so that way you are ready to go for that final stage of your fuel run before coming down pit road. And right now we're seeing that come into play for the Conti drivers, where this part of the race they feel the most comfortable, they feel like they have the most speed. We'll see what happens to some of the Ryco drivers, as well as also drivers like Ryan Luza, who are in the mix as well, as they will try to fight their way back up to the front of the field before the next pit stop.
Conti continuing to come forward. He's up to 4th, looking a little bit further back. We got a side-by-side battle just about. Joshua Watson on the outside trying to hang on. Ray Alfala and Matt Busa trying to come through, take that spot, get themselves into the top 10. That's what Joshua Watson's hanging on to right now. So a lot of fight for Watson, and he's doing an admirable job with 2 pros. Well, I should say 4 pros lined up right behind him.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, and that's a good thing. These are some of these drivers in this top 10. Yeah, he's got 6 pro drivers behind him, and he is definitely going to be one of those future stars in the eNASCAR series before this all said and done. Jacob Schneider, James Houghton, Nicholas Vroman, Patrick Gitter. We're going to see these drivers one day competing against these guys in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series Championship within the coming year. As here comes one driver, that is Nicholas Vroman. He'll look to the inside of Patrick Gitter for second place, side by side as they come through the middle of turn 3 and 4. He gets on the power to try to fight, but the big momentum of Gitter on the outside with help from his team boss, Michael Conti, is helping him push his way back up to second.
That run that Conti got out of that corner with them being side by side was absolutely ridiculous, and he's going to benefit from it huge, pushing his teammate all the way down, clear of second place. And now Conti flowing through on that outside line. He's going to get another big run on his teammate coming down into turn number 3. What a beginning to the race for Michael Conti, and Gitter's just going to give it to him down into 3.
Yep, he realizes Conti has been the fastest car on the track consistently lap after lap, and he is going to set his sights as here comes Vroman to the back bumper of Gitter. He'll capitalize on the mistake right there that Gitter made as he will go around the outside.
Yeah, Gitter really needed to give that up on corner entry and get back in line to get a good run out of the corner, but instead he got out of the gas, gave it to his boss. I like the thought, but it's going to cost him the 3rd place spot. Maybe could have done that a little bit better coming down into turn number 3. Either way, falling back to 4th, Vroman back up to 3rd. But Conti, that's the story. Coming up from 22nd to 2nd. And now he's got his sights set on Garrett Maines. This is the most amount of clean air that he's had the entire time.
And doing it all in less than 30 laps. That's impressive as well. I mean,
What
that just
in the
shows
world?
how well the Conti setup for this week is not too bad either. They're definitely going to keep an eye on this here, as he will be ready to see what they can do tomorrow night in the eNASCAR series. Side by side, a little further back, that is Seminario and I believe Joshua Watson battling for position. This is the battle for P9. Ryan LaFrade right there also in the mix as well, trying to work his way through the field, as he also got the 41 of Houghton and Derek Heitman battling for position. As here comes Seminario. He got a little tight off corner exit. He gathers it back up.
Here comes Zach Novak on the very outside, putting him 3 wide. He's going to try to flow through on the outside. Seminario loses the nose through the center of the corner ever so slightly. That's going to let Novak take it on the outside. Think it's going to be too wide right behind him. Watson still hanging on to the outside line. Those two came to contact, or had contact through 3 and 4 last time through Seminario and Watson. This time coming through the corner, all fine and dandy so far. Seminario maybe a little bit loose. Able to hang on to it. Still has the side draft, so might be able to pull that 0-1 back, but it looks like Watson might be able to get clear before we get down to the 1.
He's going to try to clear him, but so far he's not going to be able to clear the driver, James Houghton. Meanwhile, a little further behind, LaPlade as well as also Ralfala get together a little bit. That opens the door for now Matt Busa to get in the fix right here to get to the inside in his Chevrolet. Garrett Lowe in the mix as well as they work their way through, and it's going to be exciting to see how this happens.
Yeah, it's a huge stack up from Briar LaPrade on back. I mean, it is a mess from 12th to the rear of this field. LaPrade able to cycle through to the front of it, but he got tight behind Seminario and Watson just a couple laps ago. Unable to get by those guys, stacking up the field. Well, they're all duking it out for 12th. I wouldn't expect all the pros to be fighting for 12th.
I wouldn't either, but you know what? It just shows the competitiveness of the future stars of this series that we'll see coming into play as we watch Novak pushing the 76 machine up through the field, as we watch Seminario getting that help from Novak as they try to get around Houghton for position.
Yeah, Heitman on the inside trying to get the throttle down, but Heitman, I can tell you right now, he's harder than a kidney stone to pass. I mean, God bless, that man knows how to run you hard and prevent you from passing, and he's going to put it right on Heitman's door here. Heitman going to get tight. Houghton maybe a little bit too far up the racetrack, and it's still going to be door-to-door for 3 rows back coming off a turn number 4. And well, that battle for 12th that I was talking about, they're all catching up to these guys, and Novak's going to stick at 3 once again. Heitman and Houghton getting into it a little bit, coming down to the turn 1, and Novak is going to take advantage of that outside line once again.
How about this battle for position as drivers are trying to apologize there? Heitman was seeing he was getting too tight off corner exit again, so the cars are getting a little too tight for some of these drivers mid-pack because of all the aero wash that they're getting from the cars ahead of them, as well as the cars behind them as they try to work their way around. Everyone, though, realizes the situation. 35 laps on the board as they try to negotiate around the track here, and so far so good as they try to do battle here. And this just shows the talent level of the Monday night top split here. You get your top level drivers as Garrett Lowe makes contact with Joseph Squared as they head down into turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, they're getting a little bit feisty. That's actually Joshua Watson on the outside that's just getting bullied, shipped out to dry. And Heitman and Lowe fighting side by side right in front of him now, as Lowe looks like he's cleared that pack just like Zach Novak did. Still got a little bit of a challenge with James Houghton, but Novak and Garrett Lowe looking to be the quick 2 out of the bunch, coming through the field and able to get into the clean air quickest. We saw Novak, as soon as he got into the clean air, he started getting really, really twitchy loose through 3 and 4. So once you find it for the first time, it takes a couple laps to get used to sometimes to realize how much more turning ability you have through the center of these corners. Garrett Lowe's trying to find that out, but he's still stuck in a side-by-side battle with James Houghton.
He really is, but as we keep an eye on the battle there between Lowe and Houghton, and it's going to go 2 by 2 further back as Schneider and Briar LaPrade, and then throw in Seminario and Alfala. Also Joseph Squared in the mix as well as they try to do battle for position outside the top 10. There you see Joseph Squared going to take him 3 wide almost, gathers it back up, and he'll set his sights to go around Seminario and Heitman for position as Alfala tries to almost go 3 and 4 wide as you throw in Mitchum.
Oh, Mitchum is just dropping through the field. Had a good starting spot up in 6th. Drove himself up a little bit further than that. He's fallen all the way back to 16th. Now 20th after that lap is done and dusted. So very tough start to this race for Michael Mitchum. But he's trying to fight it back. Around the outside, 3 wide, trying to find a couple of those positions back. Seminario almost putting him in the fence. He does find it ever so slightly. Miller Bonds right in front of him, giving him a little bit of a tag down the back straightaway, trying to force that outside line through. Mitchum trying to make up for these lost positions.
How about the Kevin Harvick Racing driver, Matt Busa right there also in the Treetop Chevrolet, gets a great run as well. He'll try to get the run that he needs. He had a big run last lap by, but now he is stuck in the middle of 2 drivers, Joseph Squared and Bikey, who is in position right behind in the number 1 machine as they come through the middle of turn 1 and 2. The number 4 driver out there on the outside also trying to get a run. That, of course, being Matt DiCiani in his silver team. Conti Bergoli right behind, and then you got the EPI driver the 26 of Brennan Himmel behind in position, trying to chase them down.
Well, we're nearing up on that first round of green flag pit stops. We're going to use this opportunity before those pit stops start to take our first commercial break of the evening. Whenever we come back, we've got a whole heck of a lot more racing action coming at you live.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to tonight's Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split action on GridVision from the Nashville Superspeedway. Green flag pit stops have kicked off. We've had a couple suitors come down pit road. I believe James Houghton was one of those. Paul Bergoli also might have taken the trek down pit road. Looks like both those guys are actually coming out of pit lane right now. So we've got a couple guys that have decided to come down pit road and start this thing off a little bit early. And as we're looking up towards the front of the field, it looks like that pace from Conti's worn off a little bit. Wore out those tires a little bit coming through the field. Stalled out in second. He's dropped back to fourth. And Ryan Luza, who was struggling early, has come alive over the course of the last 10 laps and has driven himself back up to second. And he's looking faster than the race leader, Garrett Maines, right now.
He really is. He is getting some big lap times right here. Last time by, he was about a 10th faster than Garrett Maines here. So he is definitely trying to reel in your race leader. Meanwhile, a little bit further behind, about another half a second or 0.3 of a second back, is Vroman in the hunt. And then you pick up Patrick Gitter right there in the 5th spot as they work their way down the back straightaway. They are trying to, as more drivers are coming down pit road, Briar LaPrade gets on the radio saying he's coming down pit road.
Couple more guys deciding to come down, splitting this thing just about in half. Oh, okay, that's terrible for LaPrade. He's gonna miss it.
He missed it because he got a little bit of a bump right there as he tried to come down pit road. That is going to cost him valuable seconds and a whole bunch of positions in this race here, but definitely not happy over the radio as he got contact.
He's got some damage on the right rear too. It looks like it's going to come from Derek Heitman in the 76. Maybe not. He looks to be high enough, so I believe it's one more car behind. Oh, yeah. Oh, Watson clobbered him. And it's a tough pit road entry because you're entering on the racetrack, on a one-groove racetrack, and that groove is on the bottom. That's why it's kind of difficult. But, I mean, I feel like Watson has to see that just a little bit earlier. You got to feel for LaPrade. I mean, he's just trying to drive through the field and, kind of has it ruined halfway through whenever he's trying to make his green flag pit stop. But nonetheless, we've got the race in action up towards the front. Garrett Maines is continuing to be run down from Luza, who is, I've got to say, got the long run pace figured out. He gave up a little bit in the short end, but he has been flying the last 10 or so laps. Maines, I don't know. I have a hard time, if he's using this race as a measuring stick for tomorrow night, being in the lead the entire time, it's hard to actually take anything from the race. You don't know how your car is going to react in traffic. You don't know exactly what you need to work on, because in the Coke race with 40 other pros, I feel like it's going to be a whole lot more difficult for him to qualify on pole or on the front row and easily take the lead right off the bat. So how much are you learning really from the lead whenever you haven't been in the dirty air yet?
Well, one thing is you manage of what strategies you can come out, and also it gives you an opportunity to see where you can kind of run your tires and how well you can push your tires when you're leading. If you're up in the lead, you can kind of find that balance of like, all right, I can push it this far. This is how much time I'll gain during this run. However, if I'm not pushing enough, then it'll show how much time you are going to lose on the drivers who are coming behind. Because last time by, Maines ran almost identical lap times to both Luza and Vroman. So he's kind of just managing his tires right now at the moment in order to see what he could do later on before this first round of pit stops for him. More drivers have come down pit road. Tommy Gossett just finished his pit stop, and he will work his way forward onto the racetrack once again.
And I think we're mostly seeing the pit stop games right here. I feel like the meta right now in iRacing is pit late. Be the guy on newer tires, especially at a racetrack like this where you just lose the front end. You want to be faster over the course of the entire run. And I know one lap better tires doesn't sound amazing, but man, it's one lap better for 40 laps. I mean, it is a huge, huge difference. Yeah, you give up a second and a half right off the front end, but you exchange that for, 0.03 of a second every single lap, and that adds up.
It really does. As we take a look at the replay here, something happened with, I believe that is Joseph Squared. Ooh, Miller Bonds missing his pit box at stall as well. He does make it just barely, but that's a tough break for Miller Bonds in the number 12 machine. A couple other drivers also come down pit road as caution is out.
Everybody that's pitted is frowning big time. Oh, it's a big accident coming out of turn number 4, it looks like. I think a couple drivers stopped down on the inside of the racetrack trying to get an idea.
And Derek Heitman.
Ray Alfala's already towed. His front end's gone. Mitchum, his front end's gone. That's about what Alfala's car looks like, too, down on pit road right now.
Tough break here as we'll take a look at the replay of
has
what
to be a pit entry thing, right? Same thing?
It has to be. Let's see. Ray Alfala right there. Is he coming down? No.
Oh.
It's ahead of him.
Yeah, but it's still the same thing.
Yeah, pit road miscalculations.
Oh, man. Did Heitman run into the back of somebody else and that shot Heitman up the racetrack in front of Alfala?
Heitman, I think. Let's see. The 20 machine.
It's Joseph Squared right in front of him. I think we're a lap ahead. So you got to think Joseph's probably calling it out here, or I don't know for certain if he did or not. But if he's thinking about pitting and you're going to call it out, you call it out here. You let him know, especially with them tucked right up under your bumper. You really want to.
Yeah.
Let's see, like, does he telegraph it coming down into 3? Even if he doesn't call it out, does he absolutely telegraph it coming out of the corner? I mean, he's drifted up a half a lane, but it's not like he drove off big time. Tyler Gary in it big.
Yeah, I mean,
our producer's saying 20 slow down on track, but you have to slow down on track. Like, that's the whole point. Like, the entering pit road here, you have to slow down on track. The thing is, you've really got to hold it down to the yellow line. And did he do that perfect? No, but it was only half a lane. And like I said, we're in the pit stop cycle, so you got to expect somebody is going to check up right in front of you at any point coming off of turn number 4. I think Heitman was just a little slow to react to it.
Yeah, I have to say, let's look right here. I mean, he's already slowing down. Middle of the corner, at least he was.
It's the problem is it's not a racing incident, and it's hard to judge fault because one guy's slowing down in the racing groove. You know, he's trying to check up 100 miles an hour coming out of the corner. The other guy's trying to continue his lap, going that extra 100 mile an hour. I mean, you're asking a lot whenever the racing groove is the exact same as the pit entry groove. So I typically am inclined to pass off a little bit of the blame on this and just be like, well, it's just unfortunate. That's how the track is laid out. You get that sometimes. I don't really think you can put a ton of blame on it.
No, I mean, it's just a situation of just not enough heads up for the drivers there.
Yeah, that's the racing line. It's just a bad situation for everybody involved, and you feel for everybody that got caught up in it that had absolutely nothing to do with it from the start.
Yep.
You wish that it gets confined to the 2 guys that had it, and it's just contact that sends one guy spinning. But obviously, that ended up being way bigger coming off of turn number 4.
Have our first retirement as Tyler Gary is out of the race. Safe to say also that Ray Alfala will be joining him momentarily. He's going to try and get the damage repair on his number 69 VRS E-Racer Chevrolet, but it's going to be a little bit of time. He will hopefully rejoin the track and continue on, but for Garrett Maines, he will win the race off pit road. Nicholas Vroman, Garrett Lowe, your top 3, then Patrick Gitter, Zach Novak, Ryan Luza, Johan Seminario, Michael Conti, Brennan Bakey, and Matt Busa, your top 10. Meanwhile, the driver of Ryan Luza already dropped 5 or a couple of spots quite a bit after starting or was running inside the top 2.
And I got to point out, too, I'm actually getting word that Derek Heitman was coming down pit road that lap, too. So he might have just missed his braking point a little bit, or maybe Joseph's braked a little bit earlier. Maybe one of them had practiced their pit road entries and one of them hadn't, and maybe that's where the little bit of a disagreement came in coming down pit road. But like I said, typically I try not to get too angsty over entering pit road incidents. They're typically, just crap luck sometimes.
Yep, tough break. And also one other thing to keep in mind is, of course, Ryan Luza also is a part of the Ryco team to it as well as, so it's basically another 1-2 situation for Ryco. Right now it was a 1-2-3 at one point, as we are now about to go double up once again.
Yeah, I'll have to see how this restart cycles out. It'll be a shorter run. These guys won't be saving their tires quite as hard. Don't get me wrong, 40 laps is still rather daunting on your tires. They're going to be hurting ever so slightly, but I do think we're going to see these guys fighting harder to keep their track position than we saw at the beginning. I think people were okay-ish with settling out single file and riding to save tires for the first 10 or so lap, barring, Michael Conti coming through the field. But here on this one, I think we're going to see more side-by-side, more people really pinching them down on the exit of these corners on the outside grooves. So I think we're in for a hectic restart, to say the least, as a lot of the field's still catching up coming off of pit road.
Yeah, a couple of drivers trying to get their wave around as well, because some of them were still caught a lap down even during that green flag pit stop. So another retirement as well. Derek Heitman out of the race as they will continue on with their run. So we'll see how this all plays out as they come out of turn 4. Fred, the pace car driver, makes the hard left turn as they enter into the restart zone with Barty the flagman with the green flag in hand, as is the Ryco 1-2 leading them towards the green flag.
Garrett Maines, the one to lead them down. The green flag is flying, and Garrett Maines is first to the gas, coming down across the start-finish line. This time he had control of the restart. He easily gets clear from that number 1 position. Second, though, is not decided. Garrett Lowe drives it in deep. Vroman tries to drive it in as deep on the outside. Hang on to that right rear. Not going to be able to do it. Garrett Lowe through to second from third.
Great run right there by Garrett Lowe. Right behind, Nicholas Vroman drops back to P3. How about 3 wide further back between the drivers of Ryan Luza, Matt Busa, and Johan Seminario as they try to do battle and keep up the pace as they try to hunt down Novak and Conti as they now break into the top 6. Bad run for Seminario. He has to give way to the drivers ahead of him as they give way to Ryan Luza and Matt Busa as Brendan Himmel going to a couple of spots inside the top 15.
Luza just clearing himself over the nose of the 56, able to hang on to it down the front straightaway, side by side in a battle with Busa coming down to turn 3. And I got to point out, Garrett Maines is seeing a couple new faces, a couple new names that he has not seen all night long because they all decided to start in the back. Garrett Lowe started in 24th. He's right up the back bumper of Garrett Maines coming down into turn number 1. And there's a handful of other pros that have found themselves up into the top 10 looking to march forward. Zach Novak, Michael Conti, Ryan Luza, Matt Busa all up here looking to challenge.
6 of the top 10 drivers compete in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. The other 4 are drivers of Roman, Gitter, as Seminario, and Bakey. So they are in high-quality competition here in the top 10 as they work their way through. There you see the iRatings right along the side. Garrett Maines, the highest iRating amongst them all, 9,500. Then he goes 79, 89, 77, and multiple others. Oh, great drive for a lot of these competitors as they do battle further up the road. And it's safe to say these are some of the best, the future and current stars of the eNASCAR series.
Absolutely, and they're all fighting it out inside of the top 10. The top 10 or so have kind of separated themselves, I would say. Brandon Bikey back in 10th with a 0.3 of a second gap over 11th. Everybody in front of that kind of settling in, not really fighting too hard. As soon as I say that, loses looking to the outside here, trying to pick off Patrick Gitter. But they've mostly cycled out, saving tires. I think they found their running positions, not fighting too hard unless something just falls into their lap. Somebody makes a mistake in front of them. I do think that we're in just a little bit of that tire saving phase, but I think we're going to come out of it really quick here.
For some drivers, yes, they are in tire saving mode. They want to try to make sure they can get to the end. And for others, it is go time. Garrett Lowe already moved up to P2. Now it's Michael Conti's turn to break into the top 3 as they come around the outside lane. Of course, around Nicholas Vroman. Luza going to follow suit as they try to keep pace here. But here comes Garrett Lowe with a big head of steam off turn number 2. He'll look to the inside, tries to show the nose on Garrett Maines. He now sends it in. Ford versus Toyota as they dive into turn 3 and 4. The Mahal eSports driver trying to hold on and get his good run. The BS competition machine across the inside, and he will battle the Left Court Brothers Racing Toyota of Garrett Maines side by side as the WR1 chassis of Michael Conti tries to hold the 3rd spot.
Oh, Garrett Lowe slides up just ever so slightly, coming out of turn 2. A little bit tight out of Garrett Lowe. That's going to give the lead back to Garrett Maines. It's just so tough to pass on the bottom. Maines has had the clear air all night. He's not about to give it up like that coming down to turn 1. He's able to hang on. But Lowe just looks a little bit quicker in that dirty air. I mean, he is cutting through the center of the corner so good.
It's the Battle of the Garretts here tonight. Of course, as they work their way through the middle of the track, Garrett Lowe, of course, a representative of the Reaper Speed Lab group, as they try to work their way through and keep pace here. So we'll see what they can do out of turn number 2. He gets a good run down the back straightaway, tries to show the nose to the inside of Garrett Maines, can't quite do it. He'll stay tucked up behind for the moment as he tries to get himself a good run off turn number 4.
Maines is just a little tight. That's going to be his downfall. He is struggling here coming off of 4, throws the block down on the apron. Still going to be single file coming down into turn number 1, but Maines is just tight center off. He's not able to get the throttle down in the same way and have the nose rotate. Whenever he gets on the throttle, his nose pushes up to the outside of the racetrack. Garrett Lowe continues to rotate.
Yeah, Garrett's just able to get a smooth, consistent run. He'll send it down to the inside as we ride on board with him in the BS competition. Clears and slide jobs, contact. They're going to be a crossover move now for Garrett Maines as he tries to get the spot. Low into the wall. Low gets a little aggressive as he tries to throw the block on Michael Conti, who goes up the racetrack side by side as they go through the middle. 3 wide. Vroman sends it in deep as they come through the middle of turn 1.
Roman tried to do it, but that entry angle down into 1 at Nashville is just not going to work out. Garrett Lowe had heavy contact with the outside wall, fins off Conti for second, but is that car hurt? How hard did he hit it? Did it bend up that wheel a little bit? I mean, it was huge contact for Garrett Lowe. He had the move done. It came to blows coming out of turn number 4, didn't it? I mean, it was just so tight between the two. Couldn't tell if Maines fenced him or if Lowe did it all himself, but nonetheless, they're still cycling through in the same order they started in a couple laps ago. Lowe up to the back bumper again. He's pushing him through the corner just about.
Get the blood boiling, get the blood pumping, and ready to go as Garrett Maines almost hits the outside wall off turn number 2. Gathers it back up as Garrett Lowe will push him down the straightaway and now go around the outside to get the spot away.
He's trying to do that late apex cut back under the bottom side of Garrett Maines. He's got the run. Can Maines block him? Down to the bottom goes Maines. He might have done it. Coming back up across the nose of Lowe. Hangs on to the position. I mean, aggressive moves in the last 28 laps. Lowe still all over the bumper, nudging him through 1 and 2 here at Charlotte, trying to take it.
He's got an opening here as they come off turn 2. Thought better of it to stay side tucked up behind the driver of Garrett Maines. Michael Conti right there behind the catbird seat, ready to capitalize on these two battling for the race lead. Let's see what Lowe can do off turn number 4. Can't quite get the run down. Garrett Maines gets a little bit of breathing room by about a car length as Conti is all over the back bumper. Vroman in the mix, throwing Luza and Novak and Matt Busa. These drivers all want a shot at the race lead as they come through the middle of turn 2.
Yeah, Luza looking to the inside of Roman. Not going to happen. Conti looking to the outside of Lowe. That's going to happen. Conti around the outside. Look at him all the way to the back bumper of Maines. Can't get clear of Garrett Lowe on the inside. Just going to have to sweep around the outside of turn 4. Try to get the run on Maines. Coming down the front straightaway. Maines doesn't get too tight that time, but Conti still gets the better run off the top side of the racetrack. Goes low, goes high. Maines blocks both. Coming down into turn number 1. Still single file, but Conti's the new second place driver.
Good run right here, but here comes Conti with a big head of steam around the outside. Thinks better of it. Tries to see if he can cross him over down on the bottom of the racetrack as they ride on board with Garrett Maines. No, we see Conti trying to peek the nose a little bit into turn 3 and 4. Garrett Lowe watches on in third as they come through the middle of turn 3 and 4. Right behind Vroman, tries to go around the outside of Garrett Lowe. Gets loose off corner exit, gathers it back up. Garrett Maines goes to the bottom of the racetrack to throw the block, and here comes Conti around the outside. Can't quite do it as Maines shuts the door.
Can Maines hang on to that clean air that has kept him up front all night, or can Michael Conti fight through the dirty air and finally get himself up to the race lead from 22nd place starting position on the grid? I mean, it is nose to tail for the top 5, and even further back, the top 9 all under a blanket, all under a second from each other. Conti trying to spice it up for the race lead, coming up at turn number 4. He's got the run this time, looking to the inside of Maines. Maines blocks once again all the way to the bottom. Able to slide back up across the nose time and time again. Garrett Maines, the same move down the front straightaway, has paid off. Garrett Lowe almost to the back bumper of Conti. Can Conti get it done down the back? The front just doesn't seem to be the place to do it.
Maine has got to be careful of where he puts that back into the car across the nose of Michael Conti, because one false step and he could easily get turned into the outside wall if he's not careful. He's got to be careful of where he sets the car up and gets the run off turn number 2. Now here comes Conti down to the inside. Maine tries to throw the block. Conti goes back up to try to cross him up. Can't quite do it as Maine is just rear view mirroring driving, keeping the number 8 machine behind as Garrett Lowe gets a good run. He's going to try to get back into the mix with Vroman, Luza, Novak watching on. Here comes Conti around the outside.
Conti finally got the run. He had a better center of 1 and 2. What can Maines do down in 3 and 4? Can he hang on, or does Conti have this around the outside? Maines drives it in a little bit deeper. Conti trying to get the run off. Maines trying to keep the side draft down the front. Dives all the way to the inside. Conti trying to break the side draft, but that's just going to keep Maines in the fight, who dives it down into turn number 1 again. But this is where Conti got to his outside in the first place. You got to think that he's got the move done. Coming out of turn number 2. And he does. Michael Conti from 22nd up to first with 23 laps to go.
Here comes Nicholas Vroman to the inside of Garrett Lowe, as well as Garrett Maines. He wants to try to take the fight to Michael Conti as they come out of the middle of turn 3 and 4. Ryan Luza right there in the M80 machine, also in the mix as they come through the middle of turn 3 out of the turn 4. Across the line here is just about under 25 laps to go, and it's going to be exciting to see who can come out on top. Here comes Garrett Maines with a head of steam off of turn 2.
Yeah, Garrett Maines trying to get back at him. Now he's got the draft. We've been talking about the dirty air, but the straightaways are pretty long here, so you can utilize that draft, maybe get yourself back into it. It's just a tough guessing game. Garrett Maines was already tight up in the clean air. Now that he's behind Conti, how is he going to find that rotation in the front end? How is he going to be able to utilize that draft without getting screwed in the dirty air? It's a tough question, but he's got 22 laps to figure it out.
Make it 21 laps now as they come across the line now, as now Lowe shows the nose to the inside of Maines as they come off at turn number 2. Maines is going to still power his way back up and hold that second spot. Last time by, Conti was a tick faster, so was Garrett Lowe than your second place driver Garrett Maines right now. So he is working his way through, so your fastest drivers are first and third at the moment. Let's see what happens as they come across the line now. It's a 30.52, a 30.53, and a 30.57. Zach Novak actually the fastest driver inside the top 5 as he is trying to fight his way for a chance of a win.
Garrett Maines trying a little bit of a later line entering turn number 3 than he's been doing so far. Down to 1, he's still diving it down to the bottom, making sure he gets down there. This time down into 3, he really drives it in deep down to the bottom. Trying to just rotate on the bottom side of the racetrack. I just don't know where he's getting the rotation from now that he's in the dirty air. I don't know how he's rotating better and able to drive up to the back bumper of Conti, but he's doing it. He's back on the back of him, diving down to the inside of 1. A move out of nowhere. Garrett Maines trying to force his way back through.
Hold on to your hats here as they get a big momentum run right there. Michael Conti powers his way back around the race lead here as here comes Garrett Lowe. He's going to give a little bit of a nudge right there to get around Garrett Maines. Luza watches on. Here comes Novak and Busa as they come out of turn number 4.
What can any of these guys do? Does Conti have this thing wrapped up if the caution flag stays in Barney's pocket? Or can any of these guys second on back get back up there and challenge him? Maines tried it. But that bottom side is going to be so tough whenever Conti rolls the top so well and gets that run out of the corner, especially coming out of turn 2. It just seems like Conti has the outside of 1 and 2 figured out.
The former eNASCAR champion going against one of the veterans of the series here as they work their way through. Of course, for Michael Conti, he's retired. He is a retired driver, if you think about it, in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. He is showing them that he's still got what it takes to run at the highest echelons of the top split racing on iRacing as he dives it down and holds off the hard charge from Garrett Maines.
Yeah, he shuts off the clean air to the front bumper of the 12 that time down into turn number 1. Maines still fighting through it, though, looking to the inside, entering turn number 3. Heavy side draft coming down to the corner. Late turn in for Maines. He's trying to slide him, coming through the corner. He's going to get the move done, but Conti's going to get it back on exit. Or does he? Garrett Maines able to hang on to the outside. What a job getting the outside of the racetrack away from Conti.
Here they come through the middle of the field, side by side as they come out of turn 2. And here comes Garrett Lowe and Luza as they work their way through. Maines gets a little bit of a nose out of turn number 2 and completes the pass.
I can't believe he got that back. I thought the slider was just dead in the water. I thought for sure he wouldn't get the momentum coming off the corner. But Garrett Maines finds just a little bit more coming out. Able to utilize the top side of the racetrack, even though he slid it in there super deep and get an even run with Conti. What a job from Garrett Maines to take the lead back. I didn't think it was going to be possible after Conti showed his muscle. But now Conti's the one under pressure from Garrett Lowe. Ryan Luza's back there too in 4th, and Zach Novak has found his way all the way up into the top 5. Just about how you'd expect this thing to sort itself out with the pros and former pros up towards the front. It's how you would expect it.
Absolutely, as the field will work their way through. This gives you an idea of what we could expect tomorrow night, excluding, of course, the driver of Michael Conti, who's retired from eNASCAR competition. This battle here, we will see for sure tomorrow. Maybe not what we're seeing as far as who's up towards the front, but you never know. This is a practice race for them to get ready for tomorrow, and they are really going to be like, hey, this is what we need to do to be ready for tomorrow, and this could be possibly the outcome for them to come home with a win or a top 5 finish.
Oh, boy. I mean, this has been a fantastic race so far, I got to say. I didn't come into Nashville with too high of hopes, but this has been absolutely hectic from the drop of the green flag. Even when the tire saving and waiting for the long run of the first stint, it was still exhilarating to watch. These guys switching positions back and forth. Man, over the course of the last 20 laps since that restart, it has just been absolutely ridiculous for the front. Conti trying to find a way back past Garrett Maines. He's got it done once. Maines did him over back, a couple laps ago, and now Conti trying to hang on to second, but also just trying to get that push up to Maines. He knows that he can get by him. He was just so quick in that first run. You got to think that he's frustrated as hell for losing the lead a couple laps ago, but he knows he can get it back. 12 to go.
12 laps to go for your race leader of Garrett Maines as he tries to hold off the hard chargers of Michael Conti, Garrett Lowe, and Ryan Luza as Zach Novak is trying to work his way through the field as well to catch back up and stay in this hunt for the race win as Garrett Maines is trying to hold off multiple championship drivers behind him.
Garrett Maines still leading the way. Conti right behind him in second. He's starting to just lose a little bit of time, man. I mean, he is not able to get up to the back bumper of Maines quite as well. Maybe he's just backing those tires off ever so slightly, trying to cool the temperatures off so he can make another run at them. But the last couple times by has not been great for the driver of the 8. Garrett Lowe's looking hungry on his back bumper in 3rd. and we're coming down to the end of this thing. You know these guys are going to be running it for everything they've got. Can anybody get by Conti for second and give Maines a challenge? It looks like Garrett Lowe is going to try.
Garrett Lowe is going to try to the inside. Michael Conti gives him a little bit of room, and Lowe will complete the pass, but he's got to now hold off Ryan Luza as well to the inside. Luza will get the spot on Conti as well. Novak trying to fill the gap as well and hold and get the position away. Can't quite clear him yet, but he will try to see what he can do heading off into turns 1 and 2. Novak in the Logan's Roadhouse will complete the pass as Conti drops further and further back in through the field.
Oh, yeah, I didn't expect this from Conti. He was so good on that last run, even though he pushed at the very beginning, got all the way up to second from 22nd in one green flag run. I was not expecting this type of struggle on this run. I thought that car had it all, but it's starting to struggle now that he's been up at the front of the field pushing with these guys. I'm honestly shocked.
I think that's the case. He's been pushing, and now he is paying the consequences of overextending those tires.
Well, either way, we're coming to 8 laps to go. Garrett Maines still up in the race lead. Garrett Lowe and Ryan Luza trying to hunt him down, and Novak's not too far back. He's right in the clutches of the 80, right in front of him. See what he can do. See if he can maybe make a move. I think that he's actually biding his time, hoping that they all three catch the race leader together. All three of them running different lines. Maybe if he finds the outside of the 80, he'll take it, but everybody's still sorting through. I think that they're all kind of playing nice. Well, never mind. Luza looking to the inside of Garrett Lowe. He's trying to take second. What can Luza do? Can he give Garrett Maines a run for his money? Lowe lets him have it.
Yeah, he does. He gives way and lets Luza now see what he can do to chase down the driver of Garrett Maines with only a handful of laps to go. It'll make it 7 laps to go for your race leader of Garrett Maines as Luza, I think for sure he's got a little bit of a fire lit underneath him. His teammate from the M80 group, Steven Wilson, won last week at Iowa, or a couple of weeks ago in Iowa. He is looking to try to see if he can go ahead and put himself in contention for the playoffs later this season.
Luza cycling through to second. Novak able to make the move for third, running the high side here, trying to get the run off of the exit, coming out of turn number 4. He's going to have a big run coming down the front straightaway in the draft of the 80. The 80 trying to run down Garrett Maines, who stretched out that lead ever so slightly. Maines finds the fence entering turn number 1. Able to get it back down to the racing line. Just trying to get everything he can, but Luza's coming in the draft.
Luza gets a good run through the middle of the corner here, and he's going to try to get a good run heading into the entrance of turn number 3. Can't quite make it work for the moment here as he holds on to the position. Lowe and Busa is starting to fall off a little bit from your top 3 as they come across the line. High 5 from Barney the Flagman. 5 laps to go.
What can anybody do in the top 4 to challenge Garrett Maines? Luza might just need a mistake. Maines rode a little bit high through 1 that time. Slowed himself up, and now Luza's firmly on the back bumper. A gift to Maines entering turn number 1 with 5 to go, and now Luza has a chance here. What can he do through 3 and 4? Can he get that 12 out of his way and find the inside?
Working their way through as they work their way across the start-finish line. 4 laps to go for your race leader. Garrett Lowe gets a great run as he'll try to show the nose to the inside of Garrett Maines. Now stays tucked up behind him as they come off turn 2.
Yep, Luza in second, trying to get it from Garrett Maines. Trying to get the run off the exit of the corner, just not quite able to close. Just does not have the power to close in on the back bumper of Garrett Maines. That's what you get with some neutered down engines, I'll tell you that. Just no momentum for the 80 to find.
No, absolutely. He is stuck in trouble right now for the moment, and he has got a lot of work to do as they come through the middle of the corner and across the start-finish line. 3 laps to go for your leaders.
Oh, he's pushing. He's trying everything he can, looking to the outside, trying to find the right rear of Garrett Maines through 1 and 2. Maines finds the throttle just a little bit quicker and able to slide back across the nose of Luza, coming to 2 laps to go. Can that 80 find anything? Is there anything to find? This many laps on your tires, can you even do anything to get past the leader in clean air?
He is trying to find an opening here as they come across the line. The big popsicle sticks. 2 laps to go for your leaders as they come out of turn, heading into turn 1 right now.
Oh.
Big bop right there. That'll move Maines up the track. Lowe will try to get the race lead away. What will Maines do? Crossover. Tries to set up for a pass. Luza gets a good run as they come down side by side. They're banging doors as they come into turn 3.
Oh, Maines not happy about what Luza did coming down into turn number 1. Rubs them coming into turn 3. Luza having to concede as Maines drives him up the racetrack, coming down to the white flag.
Luza is going to be aggressive. White flag one more time around, and already the blocking's coming into play as they head into 1 and 2. Another big push right there from Luza. He'll move Maines up the track side by side as Luza will get the spot.
It's going to be done with that one. Luza He pushes him out of the way and just runs away from Garrett Maines. He's got a big enough gap coming down to turn 3. I don't think Maines can do anything. He's going to try. He's going to drive it in as deep as possible, but it's not going to happen. Maines loses the front end, and Luzo's going to win it coming out of turn number 4 with a last lap bump and run move to win it. Coming out of 4 at Nashville Superspeedway, Luzo is going to win the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split A Open.
How about that?
Well, to say that there was plenty of RG bargy at the end of that one would be an understatement. I mean, they were moving each other left and right. A lot of contact between the front two coming to the end of that one, and honestly, I don't think that you could pass them any other way. I don't know if you could pass the race leader this late on tires without giving him a bit of a shot, and that's what Ryan Luza had to do. He did it a couple times, and he gets the race win here tonight, man. What a job from Ryan Luza.
I mean, it's just another great night of our top split Monday night races. It just shows when we have all the top level drivers, they put on a heck of a show here tonight.
Well, are we doing interviews for this one, Darby? Okay. Well, we're gonna. Sorry, my mistake on that. But we're gonna send it to a quick commercial break, and then we're gonna do interviews. So stick with us, and we're gonna talk to anybody in the top 3 that wants to give us a chat. Welcome back to tonight's Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split. We just finished up the A Open part of tonight's action. Ryan Luza brings home the victory with a last lap bump and run move over Garrett Maines. Maines settling for second. Zach Novak rounds out your podium, Garrett Lowe in 4th. Matt Busa rounds out your top 5 with Michael Conti in 6th. Gitter in 7th. Roman 8th. Joseph Squared in 9th. And Johan Seminario rounds out your top 10.
Brandon Bakey will come home in 11th position, followed by Jacob Schneider in 12th, Matt DiCiani in 13th, with James Houghton in 14th. Scott Perfetti will come home in 15th, with Miller Bond 16th, Brian LaPrade in 17th, with Joshua Watson in 18th. Rounding out your top 20, Brendan Hemmel and Tommy Gossett.
21st was Michael Mitchell with Shane Davis in 22nd, Paul Bergoli 23rd, Ray Alfala in 24th, Derek Heitman 25th, and Tyler Gary rounds out your 26-car field. That's going to do it for your race rundowns. We're going to move into our post-race interviews. Up first, we're going to talk to your third place finisher. So we're going to pull up Zach Novak into the booth. Zach, you had a heck of a race coming from the back tonight, starting well back in the 19th place position. Is that all for information gathering for the Coke Series race, the starting from the back and working your way forward?
Yeah, it's really nice that the weather was close enough to what we've been preparing for the last couple weeks for tomorrow. So, we could come out and just run some laps and learn a little bit in traffic, and definitely helps our smaller teams, right? Being able to come in a full group session like this and really feel it out in dirty air and just kind of see where we stack up. So felt good. Pace was good. Shout out to everybody, working on the car, and shout out Taylor and everybody at McConey Setup Shop. Yeah, feel really good for tomorrow. So hopefully we can qualify well and be there at the end.
Well, Zach, can you let us in on a little bit of what you learned? Obviously, I know you got some secrets you got to take back to the team and digest. But what did you learn about running around Nashville here with such a high split? I mean, from us, it was it seemed tough to pass in a lot of instances with a big single file train. A lot of guys fighting for positions. What did you learn behind the wheel?
Well, the dirty air was kind of what I expected, so I didn't really learn too much from that. But one thing that really stood out to me was just the way the track kind of widened out. Unfortunately, just with the way the car is, you can't really separate too much and really make anything happen necessarily, at least on the short run. But as the run progressed, I was experimenting running higher, and some people like Boost, I think, was running higher basically the whole race. And that was just something that I've never really seen here before. It doesn't really widen out as much, so that's promising. Definitely gives some options and kind of allows for just a little bit better racing. Just unfortunately, it's a little too close still. It's not really a ton of opportunities for passing, but it is what it is. And like I said, I learned what I needed to learn, so I'm happy about that.
Well, Zach, we appreciate you coming up here and giving us a little bit of your time after tonight's A-Open race. Congratulations on the third place finish, and we're looking forward to seeing what that translates to tomorrow night.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, that was your third place finisher, Zach Novak. Next up, we're going to pull up second place. Lost it on the last lap. Garrett Maines is going to be talking to Taylor Burris.
Here with Garrett Maines. Garrett, I mean, it was just one lap away from coming home with a great win, but unfortunately, just the bump and run got away with it again. I mean, walk us through tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could have done anything different there. Hindsight being 2020, I do know an option I had, but I don't know if I was going to be able to hold him off. I mean, I fought so hard to pass Conti back and to hold off Gilo there. It just, when he got past those two, he didn't have to fight him like I did, and he just kind of moseyed his way right back up to me and just got there just in time, and he wasn't wasting any, that's for sure. So I knew I had a shot, but when we were clear going into one the second time, I was like, he's gonna make sure he moves me this time. And I mean, you're just kind of defenseless. He had no intention of letting me hold it on the bottom, that's for sure. He was gonna make sure he got by. So shout out to Ryan. I mean, he ran a smart race the whole time, got the pole, and kind of stole it right off the start, and was able to maintain it. Just, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I had a good time in the race. I hadn't really had a lot of time to prepare. I've been traveling, so my first lap for quali was tonight, and my first laps on this setup were tonight as well. So I'm happy to have gotten what I did out of it. I think we can improve a little bit. I mean, I learned a lot in this race, so if I can figure out the qualifying aspect, I think if we start towards the front tomorrow night, we got a good shot. Shout out to Ken and Jacob, all the hard work they put in this car. I mean, everybody has really been putting in the time at Ryco to bring out these fast cars every week, and definitely showed tonight.
Well, that is Garrett Maines coming home in second place, as we are now joined by our race winner, Mr. Ryan Luza, and he's going to be joined with our very own Austin Edstrom.
Ryan, heck of a race from you out here tonight, coming down to the last couple of laps, driving up to the back bumper of Garrett Maines. Was it always, your first plan using the bumper? Because it felt like it was going to be impossible to pass a guy in clean air with that old of tires. Was that just always your plan whenever you were coming up, cutting that gap in?
I didn't really plan on it, but I got to him that first time with like 4 or 5 to go, and as soon as I got a quarter car length off his bumper, all I did was push him forward. So knew I was gonna have to probably use the bumper, and then I got a run on him into one with 2 to go, and I thought he knew that I was gonna send it in there on the bottom, but he didn't. So I ended up making contact with him there, and then he crossed me over, cleared me, and then we're taking the white flag, so of course I'm gonna have to use the bumper. So kind of just ran out of time thing along with it, like you said, just being super hard to pass. But I knew I wasn't gonna wreck him, or whatever. He was gonna hold on to it if I got into him. So just what you have to do, I guess. Good experience for the race tomorrow night. I don't know, it's gonna be hectic tomorrow for sure, because you're gonna have everyone's gonna want to save tire, but you can't because you're gonna give up your right rear and get trained on the top. So really valuable experience to have. But yeah, it was a good race with Garrett, good race with everybody. Was a ton of fun actually.
How much can you take out of a race like this leading into tomorrow? You know, you started up towards the front, dropped back to about 6th or 7th place, and really saved your tires heavy. And we're coming on very strong at the end of both of those runs tonight. You know, how much can you take? How much can you take away from that going into the Coke Series tomorrow? Whenever you add another 32 pros, where, like you said, if you give up your right rear, you're getting trained to the back, and nobody's going to give you space to get back in.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of all there is to it. I did want to, like you said, I saved a little bit that first run just to kind of see how much like you would be able to gain if you did save, but tomorrow night I don't think you're gonna be able to, right? Like you're just not gonna be able to get those spots back even if you do save. So that's where that last run was pretty valuable to me because we were all brawling pretty hard there, just to see the way the tires would hold on and the car would hold on. But this track is pretty gripped up, so I think you can drive pretty hard within reason, and like as long as you're not just blowing up your tires, I think you'll be okay. So that's kind of the main takeaway. But yeah, I don't know, pretty fun. Tomorrow I don't think it's gonna be as fun, but who knows? We'll see.
Well, we're looking forward to finding out tomorrow night. And well, Ryan, do you have anybody to thank at the end of this one?
Gotta thank all the guys at Ryco for all the hard work. We've been pretty good every week, just really haven't had the luck on our side. Just gotta qualify good tomorrow. I think that's the main thing, with track position being so important. But yeah, thanks to all those guys over there. Couldn't do it without them.
Well, Ryan, big congratulations on bringing home the victory tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing if you can go if you can double it up tomorrow night.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
All right, that was your race winner, Ryan Luza. Going to be paying attention to him tomorrow night to see if he can go back to back and match this A Open win with a much bigger Coke Series win tomorrow night. I've been Austin Edstrom, standing alongside Taylor Burst, Austin Derbyshire. We'll be back in a couple moments, minus Taylor plus Sheldon, with the B Open race. Be sure to stick with us. We got a whole heck of a lot more racing coming at you live. Welcome into Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split action from the Nashville Superspeedway. We've got the B-Open race coming at you live in just a couple of minutes. I'm Austin Edstrom standing alongside Sheldon Atkins and Austin Derbyshire behind the production booth. Sheldon, welcome back after your little bit of internet problems that we had during the A-Open. We're happy to have you for the B-Open race. Unfortunately for you, you missed an absolute banger a handful of minutes ago.
Yeah, it looked absolutely incredible. Looks like this place puts on a really good show, so I'm excited to see what we can do in a car that isn't as dependent on aero.
Well, I'm worried that the dependency on aero was what made it exciting. So we'll have to wait and see how that Xfinity car goes around the Nashville Superspeedway on the iRacing service. Get an aerial view of the Nashville Superspeedway. Don't know why they call it Nashville. It's 40 minutes outside of the track, or outside of the city, in Lebanon, Tennessee. So it's a little bit of a hop, skip, and a jump over to Nashville Superspeedway from the actual city. But nonetheless, that's where we're coming here this weekend for the NASCAR Cup Series and tonight for the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split. Like I said, that A-Open race was absolutely fantastic. So I'm a little bit more excited for this race than I was coming in, I gotta say. We're gonna move through our broadcaster picks at the very beginning of this one. Give you a little bit of an idea who we think is going to be towards the front of the field, and no surprises for me. I'm going with Philip Groner. He's been unbelievably quick week in, week out. Not going to be a surprise to see him up at the front.
Oh, well, looks like I'm picking Shane Van Gisbergen. Wasn't expecting that, but it'd be cool to see what our favorite Kiwi does out here in Nashville Superspeedway in his first take.
Well, look, we got a double Gisbergen.
Darby's got to change it now. Come on, man. Can't double dip.
I gotta be honest. I don't think that this is that's a great pick. No hate to Gisbergen. He won me some money last year in Chicago, so I appreciate you, my good sir. But I don't know. He's got good iRating, but I haven't seen him win a race on here yet, so I'm a little nervous about that one.
Well, there's a first for everything, you know. One of these days, Sheldon Creed's going to get one done.
See, Mark, I might have gone with Warman too, but he's not in the session, so there was no Quentin Warman to go with. And well, his main challenger week in, week out is Philip Groner, so I think Groner might have a little bit of a freebie here tonight. His main competitor being gone. But we're going to look at our schedule of the week ahead. Obviously tonight, you're watching the races from Nashville. Thank you, Ryco Performance. Tuesday, tomorrow night, Chicagoland Speedway, the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series. They're coming at you live from the 9 p.m. or at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then Wednesday night, we're back at Nashville for the Thunderclap iRacing Series. So be back here on Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And then Thursday, one of my favorite tracks in the world, Watkins Glen International, the High Slide Racing League, coming at you live at 8:20 p.m. Eastern. And then we're back here Friday night, once again from the Nashville Superspeedway with the Ryco Performance Friday night Top Split. That's going to be the NIS Open on Friday night. Can't wait to get that one kicked off, especially because of how good the A-Open race was. Sheldon, you might have missed the A-Open, but you're looking to be here on the Friday night NIS Open. And I'm telling you, I'm so excited for that race after what we just saw.
I'm absolutely excited because from the bits and pieces I saw, those Pro Series guys sure put on one hell of a show tonight. Bunch of previous champions and winners in that series out there just dogging each other for that win. That was an exciting thing to watch on the TV while I was waiting for everything to come back up.
Looking in at the track facts here from the Nashville Superspeedway in Lebanon, Tennessee. 105-degree track temp. Relatively hot for a concrete surface. It's gonna, the tires are gonna wear. We've seen it time and time again from Nashville. These concrete surfaces, they'll chew you up and spit you out real quick. And 105 degrees, not super hot, but hot enough to present a struggle to these guys. So they're gonna be struggling just a little bit with the grip coming out of the quarters, maybe just a little bit tight, struggling to find that front end rotation. Rounding out the last couple seconds of qualifying from Nashville, and it looks like Cruz Cadell is gonna be the guy to win the pole. He's got 0.04 of a second over the second place driver. So Cruz Cadell continuing his hot streak. I feel like the last couple weeks he's been towards the front of the field in qualifying, in the race. He's been fighting up there. And there it is, Cruz Cadell. He is your pole sitter. Jonathan Evans on his outside, about 3.5 of a second back. Daryl Hahn lines up row number 2 with Trent Dingle on his outside. Charles Velasquez Jr. starts in the 5th place position with Austin Price in 6th. Philip Groner, my pick, starting in 7th with Ricky Udding in 8th. Mason Thompson's going to be leading off row number 5 with John Williams on his outside in 10th.
In 11th place, we got Chris Frost with Mitchell Lancaster. It is outside. 13th, we're going to have Johnny Avila with Adriano D. Aguirre Gomez following him in 14th. I'm proud of myself for that. In 15th place, in 15th place, we got Clinton Ingle with Robert Clifford is outside. Look for Clinton to be fast. He typically finds his way up here. 17th, we got Brandon Burkhart. With 18th, we got Kyle Ethier. Yeah, I got that right. 19th place, we got Scott Wise, and round out your top 20 is going to be Sean Anderson.
Dakota Ehrman's going to be starting in the 21st place spot with Shane Van Gisbergen on the outside in 22nd. That is the Shane Van Gisbergen. 23rd, Brad Newman, and 24th, Cameron Sarton, 25th, Matt Coacher. I say that as if there's probably ever another Shane Van Gisbergen on the planet. I imagine that's a pretty uncommon name. I don't know. Maybe that's a very popular New Zealand name. Who knows? Who knows?
To the best of my knowledge, there's only one flying Kiwi out here, so.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what he can do. He did not put down a qualifying lap, so he's trying to get a little bit of extra practice before the Xfinity race this weekend. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know
see if it translates.
I don't know how much translates, but I do know that your marks and everything, and familiarization with the track and how everything's kind of laid out really helps a lot. Because I think it was Junior was talking about years ago. Like the first time he went to Sonoma, he had no idea what he was doing, and if it wasn't for iRacing, he would have completely blown it. Or not iRacing, but NRO3.
That's a good point, because you got to think back in the old day, and I say old day, back pre-COVID. Even the Xfinity Series, we get 2 hours of practice, so you could come to the racetrack in the real car and learn it in the 2 hours and at least be up to speed. But nowadays, you've got 20 minutes of group practice. I mean, you get 10 laps on the racetrack. I mean, you get a little bit more than that, but I mean, it's just you don't get nearly enough time to actually learn these places whenever you go to them. So you honestly kind of have to go on something like iRacing and get a little bit of a taste of it before you try it out for the first time in real life. Especially, what if the qualifying or the practice gets rained out like it does at New Hampshire, or it did at New Hampshire? Maybe that's why we see Shane in here tonight, because this could be his only chance at getting some laps in before the actual race.
Yeah, me personally, I'm very much team practice. I think they should bring it back.
I agree with you 100%.
It was always fun to watch, early in the day, getting your lunch cooked, and you got, the sounds of racing coming from the television in the living room. Yeah,
I feel like I could kind of plan my whole weekend around NASCAR. Saturday, the practices, Cup practice, Xfinity race. They're missing it. Either way, we'll hope and pray that it comes back sometime soon, but we've got something to watch here tonight. The pace car is off of turn number 4, and the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split B Open is about to go green. Cruz Cadell on the inside and first to the gas pedal. We are live from the Nashville Superspeedway.
Cruz Cadell with a pretty decent launch here coming in turn 1. He's going to be completely clear by the time we get to center. As the 11 of Jonathan Evans fades back just a little bit on the outside.
Yeah, Cadell sweeping through on the inside. It was actually able to work out this time for Cadell. We saw in the A Open, the outside line actually got a better run coming out of turn number 2. Cadell got a better jump this time than the pole sitter in the last race, so he's able to cycle himself up to the race lead like he earned in the pole run. Side by side for the 3rd place spot, Daryl Hahn, Trent Dinkle, they're going at it. Dinkle's on the outside trying to get that outside line going way up the racetrack. Caution further back in the pack. Didn't quite tell who got sent around. It's Cameron Sarton who's facing the wrong way coming into turn number 2.
Yeah, he is hot right now.
Is he on the voice chat going crazy?
No, you can tell when they fling that thing down to the apron with just absolute reckless abandon that they're pretty much fed up. Just hooked going right into 1.
If I got right here going into the corner like that on lap 2, I'd be a little frustrated too.
Well, early for that, especially that far back.
That one's pretty straightforward, I gotta say. I mean, it's close, tight racing, but I don't think that Cameron drifted up too far.
No, running that far in the back too, especially in these cars, give a little, man. It's lap 2.
Tough break for Cameron running on lap number 2, just trying to make a move through the middle. I mean, again, it's tight 3-wide racing at a track that's pretty narrow, but I feel like he did just about everything right there. Just kind of got in an unlucky situation, and unfortunately, one guy just coming off the wall a little bit. Is that really going to be a pit stop? I was about to say, you better be faking me out. It's too early for any of that nonsense.
Well, the good news for him, though, is it's early. You can get that damage fixed pretty quick. And, you know, the way the damage model works these days, you know, you pretty much get a backup car if you can get all your repairs in.
Yeah, as long as you don't, you know, bend the tire or do anything to the tire, you're fine. But as soon as you hurt something in the suspension or anything like that, you're absolutely screwed. I mean, it doesn't fix. So even if you get everything fixed, you'll be relatively close, but your long run pace ain't going to be anything, not going to be anything to write home about. So I'd be a little bit worried if your crew chief is telling you that they can't repair all the damage. But other than that, yeah, you're absolutely right. You get a brand new car whenever you come out of pit road and get it all fixed up.
Yeah, it's such an improvement over what we used to have back in the day. Just the only pain about it is it seems like everybody kind of takes that for granted.
You mean the paper
now.
mache days? The paper mache
yeah,
days?
the paper mache. You know, somebody pops you in the left rear quarter panel, you know, going 2 miles faster than you on a restart, and you lose, you know, about 70 horsepower. You know,
Sorry, that is
fun.
13 seconds of damage. You are now dead.
Yeah, that,
I think that this is maybe a little too far in the other direction. Like, I feel like there's probably a happy medium somewhere in there. I feel like we've kind of gone from one extreme to the other. Like, maybe there's not enough punishment now.
That old damage model and bottle up restarts cost me more NISs than I care to mention. It was always like caution come out 20 laps ago, been running, you know, good all race, in a good spot to win it, and then somebody just runs over me from behind on the restart because the leader didn't go, and then I'm on pit road because the engine popped.
Well, to be fair, it's pretty accurate to real life for the A cars anyway. I mean, you can beat the hell out of each other in real life and you don't see a scratch on those things. So, I mean, I guess it's realistic, and that's what they're going for. So we may have traded one extreme for the other, but they're kind of following real life, and that's what their job is to do. So maybe if they go backwards a little bit in NASCAR on that, we'll see it again. It's weird not seeing like tire rubs anymore or anything like that. Like, you never really see somebody cut down a tire because their fender's on it. It's strange to see that just completely go away.
I hate that we never properly got that modeled in any games throughout the years.
True.
Because that would have been so cool. Just, you know, I mean, it wouldn't have been fun, but it'd been cool.
Just have your crew chief tell you your fender's rubbing your tire. See, just edit in a little bit of tire smoke, and start the invisible countdown that you can't tell. Is it gonna make it? Is it gonna make it? That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Maybe someday. Especially with iRacing taking control of the NASCAR license, maybe we'll get something like that going forward. Something to hope for. Coming back to the green flag, Cruz Cadell still in the race lead. He's gonna have full control of this restart. Coming down to the restart zone, first to the gas, easily to the lead, and we're back racing.
He got a really good launch there. He caught Evan sleeping on that one.
Yeah, and Dinkel, his teammate, is going to follow him through easily. Daryl Hahn moves up to fourth. Austin Price stuck in a side-by-side battle. That's Charles Velasquez Jr. on his outside in the 64. That's your first side-by-side battle coming down the back straightaway. There's single file right behind him for 2 rows, and then finally another double side-by-side battle. Charles Velasquez Jr., though, around the outside, trying to hang on to the right rear of Daryl Hahn. Velasquez just kisses the wall coming out of 4, not able to side draft Daryl back, and is just going to lose out on that spot. But maybe he drives it in deep enough down into turn number 1. It's a very fine line. He's got to be marching, though. You don't want to push too hard and run the tire out, but you also, you know, you just see that position right in front of you. You can get to the outside, you can take it. Instead, Velasquez is going to look to the inside and try to take it.
With a huge dive down to the bottom in turn 3 on the inside of the 4 machine of Daryl Hahn. Going to come out just about even here down the front straightaway. Think Velasquez is going to use that bottom there. That'll really get a good run. No, Hahn's fighting back strong on the outside. I didn't see that coming based on what we saw earlier.
Oh, Hahn drives it in really, really deep. It might be a little too deep. Shane Van Gisbergen further back drives it in really, really deep. Shoves another competitor out of the groove. Just about to the fence. They all sorted out back there. Oh, maybe not. Van Gisbergen might be getting the bumper coming down into turn number 3. He drives it in deep, trying to hang on. Oh, a little bit of contact further back. The 19 gets turned in front of the field. He saves it just about. No, he spins it back down, collects another vehicle. Huge contact coming out of turn number 4. Sean Anderson involved in that one. He was the one that came through. And Chris Frost also involved. He was the one spinning up towards the top side of 3 and 4 after this bit of contact coming through 3. Thought he could save it there for a moment, skipped it back sideways. Huge contact. Absolutely nothing Sean Anderson can do.
Absolute shame to be that tore up this early in the race. riding on board with Newman here. He's going to send it down the bottom and just goes for a hole that wasn't there. Dakota Ehrman slipping by on the bottom there. Lucky not to be caught up in that one.
Ooh, split strategy on the pit call. About 50-50 up top, or up front.
There is a lot of frustration on the driver radio right now.
Are you surprised? Yeah, I unmuted it, and the first thing I heard was one mean word and then one really mean word.
Words that we're not going to air.
So, yeah, we're going to hold back on that one. I'm not going to go as far and say we're a family show, because I can guarantee you we're not. If you've listened to me and Sheldon for the past couple of weeks, you would know that that is not the case. But sometimes there's still a line we will not cross.
Hey, you got yourself a bowl of nublets tonight?
I've filled up on my nublets for the day for sure. I don't think I need any more nublets.
About some snickerdoodles.
Where did that one come from? Was that something from last week too, or am I?
I don't know.
I'm
I'm
lost
just
on that
saying, you
one.
know, it's,
Oh, okay. You had me a little lost on that one. I love snickerdoodles. Those
they're
are
a
like the
wonderful
only cookies
snack.
I'll eat. Only cookies I'll eat.
You know, I figured, you know, I
Snickerdoodle
looked at
cookie.
you and I was just like, man, that guy could probably tear up some
That's a-
snickerdoodles at 4 o'clock
That's
in
a
the morning.
snickerdoodle dude if I've ever seen one.
That's a snickerdoodle man.
That's a snickerdoodle dude.
That's a
Oh boy.
we're starting early.
Hey man. Well, you missed out on the entire first race, so we've got to jump right into it.
Yeah, honestly, we'll figure it out. Get a buff.
We're skipping the foreplay and just jumping right into the meat and potatoes.
I don't know what foreplay has to do with meat and potatoes, but I guess we're gonna find out here live
Whatever you want it to.
on the old
It's your decision.
Ryco Monday Night Top Split
After dark.
after dark. Got a little bit of.
Where the cars strip on the racetrack.
Well, I mean, based on the amount of radiators and suspension pieces that we're seeing floating around here, some of these guys that got caught in these incidents in the back, you're not wrong about that.
To be fair, yeah, coming out of turn 4, there were a lot of undergarments coming out of those things.
That number 81 machine of Thompson up there on the outside, second row. He's just about missing a bumper cover if you look at it up close.
Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah, he's got a big
That
old
thing
dent in
hurt?
there. That thing
Well,
looks like it's hurting.
we'll have to see if that thing stays on there. And it looks like the top 12 stayed out on the racetrack. So we're going to have to see how the guys that were up front that decided to come down pit road, that was your front 4 just a second ago, see how they come through the field. That hands the lead over to Charles Velasquez Jr. in the 64. And we are back under the green flag as he gets back to the gas in the restart zone.
Massive launch for Velasquez here on the inside. Gonna get him about 2-3 car lengths out there to the front. Outside line, the 21 machine Price looks like he spun the tires a little bit. He's going back.
Yep, side by side back there for the 3rd place spot. Austin Price on the outside. Mitchell Lancaster trying to make it work on the inside. Shane Van Gisbergen sliding it up on the inside of turn number 3, a little bit further back. He's trying to take over the spot from Mason Thompson, who pinches him down on the exit of the corner, trying to hold the right rear. Side by side, 3 rows back. Everybody fighting to get into the top 5. Looks like Shane's going to be able to take that 4th place position over the 81. Does he slide up across his bumper? He's kind of leaving him the outside groove. Maybe being a little bit too nice coming down into turn number 3, but he does take the spot as they're side by side behind him now. Austin Price blinking out for a moment. Still blinking up there in the 3rd place spot. That might have actually put off Lancaster a little bit. Van Gisbergen up to his back bumper and up the inside. Coming down into turn number 1, that 97 is flying.
SBG with a huge dive down here to the bottom of the 17 machine in 1 and 2. 17
one
still
in the
give it right
fence.
to him.
Further back, one has found the wall.
Oh, a little bit of contact between the 17 and the 81.
Kyle Ethier in the fence coming through turn 1. Contact coming down the back straightaway. Oh, just about 3 wide. Cruz Cadell might make it 3 wide on the bottom a little bit further back. Coming out of turn 4, they are 3. Cruz on the bottom side. Trying to take 2 of them. Able to get 1 as one sliding back all the way on the outside of the racetrack. Adriano de Aguilar Gomez falling back ever so slightly, losing a couple positions.
Matt Coker gave a huge shot to the rear bumper of Avila. They're 1 and 2 there. Showing that aggression that we know so well from Matt Coker in just about every series he runs in.
Yeah, he's trying to move up through the field, up to
Cadell down to the bottom.
Cadell's got the new tires, and he's coming through. And he was the quickest beforehand. He,
he's
makes
on the-
contact! Thompson
No,
pitched
he's
him
going
down.
around.
Cruz Cadell's still spinning. He saves it. They all save it. We keep racing.
Incredible. I was expecting them to wreck about 3 times there, and they just decided not to.
Oh, that sucks for Cadell. He gave those tires a big slide after he put on a new set. Loses all that track position that he worked so hard to gain. He even lost a couple positions to guys that came down and took tires with him.
Ehrman in the fence.
Yeah, big contact right in front of Cadell. That's going to put him 3 wide coming down the front straightaway just about. Cadell not able to go for it. Gets his nose cut off. But he's able to hang on for now.
That 42 machine of Ehrman, that's a sick little paint scheme.
He's trying to destroy it.
Yeah, whoever painted that needs to get paid extra. Anyway, moving on.
I hate shameless plugs.
There's a lot of shame in it. There's shame in everything I do. Come on, man.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second. I think you enjoy the bull crap.
I'm ashamed to be in here with you right now, but well, I put on my big boy pants. I'm here.
Van Gisbergen moving up to third in front of Austin Price coming down to turn 1. Shane's got a lot of pace, man. He's flying through the field.
Calculated pick from me. From actually Darby, then to me.
I was about to say, you didn't even pick him. It happened to be an editing mistake that put it in your lap. If you went off of that, I'm going to be pissed.
No, you know, a little bit of Fox. I said he was fast in practice, but I hadn't made a pick yet. But thanks for making it for me. Because my pick's taking a nap right now.
Well, the field's starting to spread out ever so slightly. A couple of side-by-side battles further back. Gomez under fire from Brad Newman, and Cruz Cadell's still trying to pick up the pieces from what happened earlier. He's on the bottom of the battle right behind him. Gomez just about finds the fence. Newman is pushing for everything he's got, trying to hang on. This is for 11th, coming down into turn number 1. 2 side-by-side battles. Gomez out-driven into the corner. Can Newman keep it up coming out? He slides up in front of Gomez. Pushes the limits of that number 9 up out of the wall, or out of the corner up to the wall. And now Cadell to the inside of Gomez, trying to take 12th.
And here comes Cadell down the bottom. Catches the apron just a little bit, gets a big slide, but he still takes the spot away. Coming out of turn 4 here. I think he's going to keep the momentum up. Looks like he will. He's got him. He's got him coming down here into 1.
He'll outdrive him coming down into turn number 1. Just outbreaks him. His teammate trying to come through too. John Williams maybe overdriving turn number 1 a little bit. Excuse me, up to the door of Gomez. Able to pull it back off coming out of the corner and get a run. Cadell just trying to do everything he can to get back up here, pick up those positions that he lost in that huge slide. And he's about to come up to the driver that put him on that slide, Mason Thompson, right in front of him.
And that's the thing, too. Right now, what Williams is doing, calculated. You know your teammate's out here. He's frustrated.
Oh, no.
He's fast. Oh, and he's sideways. Follow him, though. Let him make the hole. Save your tires. Oh, here comes Williams charging on the inside just as soon as the words leave my mouth.
Yeah, Cadell got loose through 1 and 2 and just gave it to him. Oh, he puts it right on his door.
And Cadell's usually really, really calculated with how he's driving. You
Oh.
can tell he's frustrated based on how loose that thing's coming around on him. He's trying so hard to get through this field, and it's just so difficult.
Mason Thompson continuing to slide on those old tires. Cadell to his inside. They make contact earlier. That's what's put Cadell on this downward trajectory. He's trying to pick up that spot, put it all behind him, and he's going to do it down into turn number 3. Shane Van Gisbergen trying to pick up the second place spot. Oh, somebody's wrecking down the front straightaway. Cameron Sarton has blown an engine down the front straightaway. I'm not quite sure what happened. He was a lap down, and he just got wrecked by Brad Newman coming down the front straightaway. I don't really know what to say about what just happened. I'm just kind of lost on the on the accident that we just had. Either way, still racing action. I figured we'd get a yellow for something like that down the front straightaway, but not to be. Philip Groner up in the race lead, but Shane Van Gisbergen's running him down.
Yeah, SVG is absolutely on a tear here right now. I mean, can we be too surprised, though? I mean, how many laps has he spent on a simulator for this weekend?
I mean, there's no telling, to be fair. There's no telling how much simulator time he's been putting into all the NASCAR stuff since he started. I mean,
I'm interested to see how he does this week, because we know how hard it is for some of these real-life guys to actually apply what they know IRL into the sim.
I feel like the problem for him right now is that colleague is not what it used to be, right? If this is the colleague from 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I think that, he'd be putting in some pretty good runs and finishing top 10 a lot more often and running up in the top 10 and being able to actually translate the sim stuff to real life and make it work. But I feel like colleague has just been a shadow of their former selves too. And it's hurt his development, or at least what we can see of it.
They've definitely fallen off a pretty steep cliff from where they were a few years ago. And I will consistently believe that opening the Cup team when they just started tasting success in the Xfinity Series, really put a damper on their long-term success.
I agree with you.
Hopefully, Chris Rice doesn't hear that somehow and block me on Twitter.
Oh boy. Well, Gisbergen's getting up to the back bumper of Groner here. I mean, he is absolutely moving. Kind of peeking his nose down to the inside, not actually going out there. Trying to do a later apex. Get the run off on Groner as Groner slides up on exit, tries to apply the throttle. Van Gisbergen tries to get down to the inside.
Just got to the bumper. Momentum. Just got to the bumper, packs a little bit of air to him. You can tell
he's looking here.
Oh, he's going to get him here.
Oh,
Groner
man, he drives it in deep. Van Gisbergen taking it, driving it back down to the apron, trying to prevent Groner from pulling the switch back. And he's going to defend it. Coming down the back straightaway, Van Gisbergen is taking the lead.
No contest from Groner here at the moment. Gisbergen showing us, I mean, the dude is a wall of talent. We know this. It's just good to see him up here running up front here in the B Series.
I just can't wait to see if it translates at all. I cannot wait. I just want to see how he runs this week, because he's running great right now, man. I mean, he is flying. We put 30 laps on these tires. I mean, maybe 25 green flag laps, but I mean, that's still a good bit. If he was running too hard, I feel like we would start seeing it show, and he would start dropping in pace. But he's hanging on really nice. Just took the race lead, starting to pull away from Groner a little bit. The only problem is new tires are going to start knocking on the door. Trent Dinkel's up to 4th, and as good as Van Gisbergen's doing, he's not going to be able to hang on to that race lead if somebody with 10 lap fresher tires is going to be coming up to his back bumper.
No, but if he can hold on to that track position, keep the bleeding from getting too exponential. Yeah, true. He could be sitting pretty. Being on an alternate strategy with an extra set of tires, I'd take it any day. I mean, you got to wonder too, like, does this place, translate better for him than the other mile and a half? Because this is a flatter oval. This place is more akin to, like, the old Kansas Speedway and old Kentucky. You got to wonder, like, all that off-throttle time, does that really lend itself to somebody that has a lot of road course experience?
Well, he just made contact entering the wall, or entering turn 1. He made contact with the wall. Able to still get a decent line out of it and pull the lead back open, but maybe just giving up a little bit.
He's just trying out moves he learned from his Trackhouse teammate, Chastain, the old Melon.
Fair enough. Well, as the field's kind of spread out and we're getting closer to green flag pit stops, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break of the afternoon. Whenever we come back, we're going to get to about the 2/3 mark. Get a lot of racing action left for you.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to tonight's Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split. We're in the middle of a caution flag for the B Open race. We just had a huge accident coming through turns 1 and 2, and it all started with Cruz Cadell, who got loose entering turn number 1. He had a big moment, collected Chris Frost, who came off the wall and collected Mitchell Lancaster. So a big accident coming down here. We're looking at Cruz Cadell right now, getting loose, snapping it back up. Avila making contact, collects Chris Frost. That contact knocks him down and collects 2 more. So huge accident exiting turn number 2. As the guy that was leading the race, the guy that sat on the pole coming through the field, finds himself in a heap of mess.
Yeah, you see how deep he was diving it down there in a 1 and 2. And, you know, this late on the tires, you just can't really do that. He got down there, got it crossed up because he sent it in so deep. And next thing you know, the back end's coming around. I mean, we saw him fight in loose condition prior to that, about 5-10 laps ago. And those things don't really get better throughout the run. Once you burn that right rear tire off, it's pretty much done for the rest of the night until you come down and fire on a new set.
This caution is a big help to all those guys that had stayed out on the racetrack and had not come down pit road yet. Everybody now having to come down, and well, that tire advantage that those guys had coming through the field, it is gone. It is a wash. Everybody that gained track position now gets to keep it. That includes Shane Van Gisbergen and Philip Groner, who have cycled up to first and second.
And this is huge for SVG, who we were just talking about getting ready to be overtaken by a couple faster cars and fresher stuff behind him. Now he doesn't have to worry about holding on that track position. He just has to go out there and try and win this thing now.
It's going to be tough still, though. There's a lot of competition up there. You got to think a lot of the heavy hitters that were up front were, relegated to the back under that pit cycle because they chose to come down and put fresh tires on. They just hadn't got back up to Van Gisbergen. So we'll have to wait and see how those guys do now that they're back on even tires, getting back towards the front of the field. Looking at, guys like Trent Dinkle. I believe Austin Price had pitted. So looking at a couple of these guys that were coming back up towards the front. You got to see how they do now that they're back on equal tires and back towards the clean air. And Gisbergen still leading the way. Philip Groner in second. Trent Dinkle has gotten back up to third. Velasquez Jr. doing a good job hanging on to fourth after staying out. Austin Price into fifth. John Williams sixth. Jonathan Evans in seventh. Johnny Avila had a little bit of contact. Must have not had damage. Still in eighth, even after the pit stops. Matt Coker in ninth. Daryl Hahn rounds out your top 10. Just getting an idea of how our field, the rundown is so far. A couple drivers that have had issues. We've touched on that last incident. Cruz Cadell, Adriano Aguilar Gomez, Cameron Sarton. Sarton's been out from other ones. Chris Frost was involved in that one. So we've had our fair share of incidents in the B race tonight. We didn't have a lot of race enders in the A Open, but the B Open's seen a couple heavier hits.
Can you say Gomez's name again?
Adriano Aguilar Gomez.
There you go. Down in. First time it
Something
just
like
sounded
that.
like you kind of got on the stairs a little bit while you're trying to talk.
So, it just happens like that sometimes. You see a bunch of letters that in your native language sound completely different than their native language, and you start freaking out a little bit. Like, how do you pronounce this? I couldn't believe you nailed it. You nailed it in the pre-race.
Yeah, that's the only time it's going to happen.
Like, I am sorry. I don't know my Portuguese.
You're fine. You're lucky that I can say Van Gisbergen.
Well, if Jeff Burton didn't teach us how to not do it last summer, you probably would have a more difficult time. But
I mean, I'm
we all
from
saw.
the same state, brother. I don't have much.
Yeah, but
much
he
choice.
taught you how to not do it. He taught you to not have a stroke in the middle of saying his name, and you'll be fine.
I'm just gonna roll up here with Ward Burton voice one of these weeks.
Oh man,
It's gonna be great.
I hope you don't. We'll have a
I'm
hard
gonna do it.
time.
Here
Kick you out
comes
of the
my
booth.
gauge bugging up here on the bottom.
Okay. Oh boy. Well, Shane Van Gisbergen's leading the way, coming back to the green flag. Philip Groner on his outside, and we're back racing from the Nashville Superspeedway. Not a huge jump from Van Gisbergen that time. Still able to get clear before we get down to the turn number 1 and put the two Team Conti teammates side by side.
Here's the question: are they gonna make it easy on each other here? It looks like they will. The machine gonna taper back just a little bit out there on the outside of Velasquez now. But were you laughing at my pronunciations?
Yeah.
Was it? I can't help it.
Velasquez makes contact. That kills me.
Velasquez there on the bottom.
Okay. Well, now we're really throwing it out there. They're single file for the top 4 spots. 5th place, right behind Velasquez, is Austin Price on the bottom side. John Williams trying to hang on around the outside. Got a little twitchy coming out of turn number 2 for Williams. But he's still able to hang on, drive it in deeper down into turn number 3. Williams willing to use a lot more of that car, a lot more of the tire, trying to get past the 21. And he's got the run coming out of the corner. It looks like he's going to put himself into the top 5.
Just hold on straight. Just holding on. Oh, you know what word I was trying to use there, but it's definitely left my dictionary instantaneously.
We're having a hell of a time here tonight.
Dadgum.
Oh, stop. Don't get him back in here.
Here comes the 21 machine of Price fighting here on the bottom, and the 11 of Evans. And they
yellow.
wreck and turn 4.
Oh, yeah.
Newman.
Oh, yeah. Newman is destroyed.
That's the
He's done.
sight.
That's gonna. Well, that was blunt.
He's too aggressive. He's great, but he's.
He does push off the bottom side. Yeah.
Oh.
That's just Newman. That's Newman's fault. He pushed up the exit of the corner and cleared himself. Unfortunately.
Interesting radio chatter from a very frustrated Dakota Ehrman.
Did he get caught up in that?
Well, but he did say something about karma and female dogs. Directed at the 9 machine.
So he did not get involved. He was just happy about
Nope.
the outcome. Understood.
Yeah, he's become very passive aggressive in his years here in the Open Series. I've watched that light behind his eyes flicker out and die.
Yeah,
So fast.
iRacing does that to you. You love it for anywhere from a year to 4 years, and then you love and hate it at the same time.
I remember when he first got here, he was fast, he was happy-go-lucky, always, real polite, never say anything mean on the chatter. Now he's just like, yep, you're stupid. Pat him on the back, and, proud of him. He learned.
Man, I do the same thing, and nothing gets me that way other than iRacing. Like, I'll be very nice and cordial everywhere, but you get me on iRacing, there's just like, there's something else that it just does to you. I don't know if it's good or bad. There's definitely a little bit more frustration involved.
I've never cussed as much on any other service, any other game as I do on here. I get so mad I make up words, man. It's bad.
Let's not hear them tonight. We already made up a word last week, so we don't need to flood the broadcast.
That's a real
waves with
word.
that.
That is in the Urban Dictionary, sir.
Yeah, but it's not anything like legit.
No, none of the things I make up are legit either. You've driven my setups before. You know this.
Except for that one New Hampshire set. That was legit.
One that was Monster and Phoenix.
That one
Richmond.
Xfinity New Hampshire setup that I won like 6 races on. That was different.
Oh, you were off of one sim, I think, by the time I did the Richmond set. Went to Phoenix. Monster.
I don't know. I remember having one really good week at Richmond. Those were the days whenever we still had the light in our eyes. Unfortunately, just like Dakota Ehrman, it has been sniffed out. We are in a total solar eclipse at all times.
No, it'll help when we get whatever changes they made to the truck. Whenever they make those to the expanded car, it'd be great. Because right now,
yeah, we'll see.
That box of opportunity with your setups, it's worse than it was during camber thrust, man. You've got no options really on how to make your car any better. There's a finite area, like a little threshold where it's perfect, but everybody's got to work in that same box right now.
We can hope and
Not like how
pray.
it used to be.
We can hope and pray that it'll get fixed. And to be fair, there is a total oval refresh coming soon, right? So
Hashtag
you gotta expect it by the end of the year.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't expect them to drop that right now in the middle of a massive, Coke Series championship. With,
Well, yeah. I'm talking about
RTP
come the update. What is it? November, December that we have the update?
Yeah, it'll probably be in the winter.
December. I think it's the first or second week of December. I expect it then. I think that's whenever we're gonna get everything. Maybe I'm being a little bit too optimistic with that one.
Maybe. No, I think we'll get it. It's they've been working on it for long enough, and honestly, iRacing's development standpoint and timelines has just gotten so much better than what it ever was when, we first came around here, and they've really gotten good at putting out solid, consistent updates and patches for everything. Like the truck, man, I can't rave enough about it. It feels so good now. Like it feels like what you see on track on Fridays and Saturdays.
Well, I'm looking forward to trying that. I haven't gotten to get my hands on that yet. I need to put in some time and figure it out. Because to be honest with you, I hated the old truck. I thought it raced nothing like real life. There was no, I mean, it was just wrong. So I'm looking forward to giving that a shot. The broadcasts that I've done of it so far have been a pleasant surprise so far. So I'm looking forward to getting more of that.
Yeah, the new model for it, it really feels like you can actually feel the side force in the wheel. And like there's like a little threshold where if you push it out too hard, you can feel it catch you back. But back to it, SVG here on the lead, rolling into the Geico restart zone.
41 laps to go. Shane Van Gisbergen leading us back down once again. That's a better job from SVG. Easily getting to the race lead. Side by side for second, side by side for fourth. Coming down into turn number one. The two Team Conti teammates side by side as Van Gisbergen just pulls away through turns 1 and 2 as they're side by side behind. Slowed him down big time. And SVG is absolutely gone.
He is absolutely flying right now, going down in turn 3. Absolutely nobody behind him. Team Conti teammates still running side by side. And behind that, looks like they're starting to single file out here a little bit. Try to get some laps logged in before they can start making some charges here.
They still haven't sorted it out for second. Groner trying to take it, coming out of turn number 2. It looks like he's going to get the edge over Trent Dinkle. Oh, he's going to pull to the bottom.
Not quite.
Put themselves back into a side-by-side position coming down to turn 3. He goes defensive. Dinkle trying to undercut him coming off the corner, but I don't think he's going to have the momentum. Groner's got second. Now they're going to try to work together to get up to Shane Van Gisbergen, but he's pulled out an 8/10 of a second gap over the first couple laps.
Right now, you got to be wondering, too, though, is SVG out here burning off those tires, going just a little too hard? You've got heavy hitters in the series like Groner and Dinkle behind them, keeping that space up, and I feel like they could go whenever they want.
Pretty single file through the top 10. Nobody really peeking out, making a move. Back for the 10th place spot, actually. Dakota Ehrman putting up a defense over Daryl Hahn, who's trying to cycle through on the bottom side. Trying to side draft Ehrman coming down the back straightaway, keep himself down there. Not able to do it as we come down to turn number 3. So the top 11, all single file before we have our first break back to the second pack. Actually, towards the front, Evans gets put side by side with Velasquez. 4th place might be switching hands coming down into turn number 1.
Evans going to charge, try to fight back here up on the top line. Velasquez still digs down there on the bottom. They're going to come close down the back straightaway. Not quite side drafting, hip checking. Evans with a huge run down into 3, but going to get a we're going to have a nice charge from Velasquez here in the bottom.
Actually, fifth
Little
place.
slide.
It's actually fifth place that they're fighting for right here, coming out of turn number 4. Velasquez was sideways through the exit of the corner, able to hang on, still keep a decent amount of momentum. And he's trying to take it, trying to hold on to fifth
get it
here.
right here. Huge slide coming out of turn 2. Velasquez is going to get the spot away from Evans. Huge block down the back straightaways. Evans tries to look low. Velasquez covering on the bottom, trying to make sure he doesn't get back to him and dive it under. Now Evans is caught up on the outside with Avila.
Yeah, Evans still stuck out there. Can he get back down in line? He's going to do it. So Evans is going to stop the bleeding. I was worried he was maybe going to lose another position as Avila was trying to cycle through on the bottom side. But Evans able to hang on to 6. John Williams is trying to push up to his teammate. We've got 3 Team Conti cars, 2nd to 4th. But their only problem, Shane Van Gisbergen, is 0.8 of a second in front.
Yep, those Team Conti teammates are running equal times to SVG. So, you know, there's not really much opportunity for them to close right now. Just kind of hoping for them to burn his stuff up or make a mistake.
Side by side for third. Dinkel's giving it to Williams. He had to check up a little bit through the center of the corner, which is going to bring a little bit of that group closer to him. But I don't think that they're going to be able to get a run to actually make a move. And I imagine the Conti cars are going to work a little bit together to try to run down Shane up in the race lead. And we're nearing that 2/3 of mark, so we're going to go ahead and take our final commercial break of the racing action. Whenever we come back, we're going to take it all the way to the checkered flag. Stay with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split. We've got the B Open live, and Shane Van Gisbergen is pulling away. He's pulled out a 2.5 seconds over Philip Groner. The only question is, has he pushed that thing too quick? Is it going to start coming back to Philip Groner, and is he going to be able to run that 97 down?
I'm not sure. The last few times I've looked, they've been just about matched on lap times this whole time. I really think that the gap itself has just come from the fact that SVG was really good, really calculated on that initial restart there, while the rest of them were back there fighting for position. You know, he just had the benefit of clean air and not having to worry about too much.
Yeah, but you've just got to worry that he's pushing those tires a little bit too much. You got to think at this point, Philip Groner, well, he's got clean air too. He's got a 2.5 seconds of it. That's just as clean as Shane's up in front, so he's going to be able to save tires the same way. And I know I talk a lot about saving tires, and you're like, well, there's 25 laps left. Look, in iRacing, man, you've got to conserve your tires pretty consistently. It's not like a heavy save, but like you're running it smart, not all out pushing just about the entire race every time that you strap into one of these things.
But here's the thing I'm looking at right now too, though. Like, look at the last lap. Every lap, these two have been matched within a few hundredths of each other. SVG has just typically been, you know, a couple hundredths better, not much. But if, you know, SVG's out there wearing off his tires, Groner's doing just as bad on him. But the problem that I'm looking at right now, if I'm Groner, is you've got a mirror full of teammates that, you know, will work with you to an extent, but once it gets down to a certain point, they're going to be making charges trying to get by you. SVG right now, he's got a clean track behind him for the most part.
That's a great point. And the thing is, I mean, if Groner was making ground up lap after lap, it would need to be almost 1/10 seconds at this point, and we're just not there. Now, if Shane just absolutely drops off a cliff or tags the wall, he's been pushing it out of turn 4, then he could absolutely give up a big chunk of time and allow Groner to get back into this thing. But right now, Groner, whenever he does gain, like you said, it's not a lot.
Yeah, it's a very small amount. You know, they're still within the hundreds. You know, we haven't seen anybody crack tenths on each other here in this battle. It's like right there, SVG ran a 3.98, and Groner ran a 3.44. It's going to take a lot. Either a caution or a huge mistake from SVG for Groner to get this thing done tonight. I'm hoping we see neither.
Yeah, well, I would like to see a Shane Van Gisbergen win on iRacing, man. I would love that. It would be pretty daggum cool.
Be really neat. Because he's been, you know, sawing at this stuff for a while, and I don't know how much success he's had, but, you know, when we've covered him, it hasn't, you know, typically gone too swell for him.
It typically hasn't gone great for him. That's why I was shocked at y'all at the pick in the pre-race, because typically it hasn't gone great for Shane. But I mean, tonight here in Nashville, I mean, he's absolutely got the pace. Yeah, to our producer's point, he's mostly done the cup car stuff. And to be fair, I hate driving the cup car on iRacing too. So maybe that's where most of that comes from. Now that he's racing the B car right here, he seems to be figuring it out pretty good, obviously. I mean, he's 5,000 plus I rating, so obviously he's got it figured out, but putting on a show here tonight.
Here's another thing, too. That last lap, SVG got really loose coming out of turn 4, got really close to the wall, had to lift out of it a little bit. He ran a 5, and Groner ran a 4.9. So, but SVG is dropping a little bit here. He's a 10th off, 5.78 to Groner's 4.81.
I think Groner's going to get there. It's just I don't know if he's going to be able to pass him.
Well, we know exactly how aggressive SVG can be behind the wheel of one of these Xfinity cars. And I'm sure that translates over here.
Oh, man. He is sliding it out of turn 4, man. I mean, pushing it for everything it's got. And I think he's pushing a little bit too far.
I think he's done a little too much. It's a 2/10 of a second drop right there.
Oh, no. Did he push it too quick?
I think he did. He's got lap traffic up here in front of him, too. This could be a determining factor, depending on who this is getting lapped. Chris Frost, I don't think he's going to put up too much of a fight.
Just kisses the fence. A little bit straighter that time. Oh my God, Frost just blew up right in front of your race
Oh.
leader. Stop on the
Oh,
racing
Groner
line.
came so close to hitting him.
Oh my word. Is he going to stop it on the racetrack and bring out a yellow? Try to pull it off. Does he have the space? Able to do it, so I think we're going to stay here without a caution.
And hats off to Frost for that. It would have been so easy to just let that thing park up against the wall, throw a yellow, ruin this entire race for everybody. He took the extra effort to make sure he was clear, get down there, get the thing pulled off to the infield. Don't
Yeah, he
ruin
did a
somebody else's
fantastic
race
job,
because
man.
yours is ruined. That's appreciated by everybody in this event right now.
I agree. That was a classy job from Frost. Looking back up at the lead, the gap, Groner cut it down for a couple laps, but it's kind of stagnated at 1.1. Was Gisbergen just running a little bit too hard, making a couple mistakes, and now he's back down and found his rhythm back?
Well, I think it's a toss-up between that, but Groner did come really close to hitting Frost there when Frost's engine popped going into turn 1 because Frost was kind of close to the line. I'm pretty sure Groner had to back it down just a smidge just to avoid popping him. So I think this lap will be a better telling of the score.
Right there. Through 3 and 4, he picked up almost a 10th. So it's going to end up being close between these guys. He'll have to deal with the dirty air, but in the B car, I feel like it's a little bit more manageable than the Cup car, the Cup race we just watched. I think Groner's going to have a really good shot.
The dirty air isn't as much of a problem in these cars at all. It almost feels like it's not even existent. It feels kind of like how the K&N cars or the ARCA cars now.
Dude, Shane's right rear is gone. I mean, he has drove this thing off the right rear the whole run, and it is bleeding. I hear this thing screaming, crying every time he's going through the corner, especially turn 4. That thing is begging for mercy.
And that's one of the things you cannot do, especially with this tire model. Once you get that right rear towed out and heated up, it does not come back to you at any point. You just pray for a caution and 4 tires. But the good news is, we're getting close to that 10 lap to go window. You can just keep it under him a little bit longer.
Just so alien having to drive a car so much off what you feel like you can take because you know that in 5 laps you're going to be paying for it, especially whenever you get to this point. If you run it too hard for 3 or 4 laps, that 5th lap is going to be crying. It's going to be mayhem, and it's going to take a couple laps to get it back under wraps. Shane's kind of going back and forth. There's just a couple laps where he's losing a tenth and a half, and then there's a couple where he's just about even. But with, 12 laps to go at the line this time, only 7.5 tenths between them, Groner's going to get there. Side by side further back, though.
Ehrman worked himself up to an 8th place spot here. Locked in a battle with Evans for P8. Going to get
Evans
nice...
continues to slide back.
And this right here, this is Ehrman's strong suit. These long runs, lots of green flag, lots of time to get out there and let everybody else burn their stuff off and kind of slip your way in.
Shane just about, he power drifted that thing through turn 4. I don't know how he didn't lose more time. But, you could see it bleed down the front straightaway, losing over a 10th of a second coming out of turn number 4. Philip Groner is reeling in your race leader. 11 laps to go. Is a caution flag going to come out and save Shane?
Honestly, I don't feel like it will. Everybody's spread out so much. I don't see it happening. Right now, SVG's best friend is that mirror. And being able to put a nice tight pinch on that outside line when he comes down because he's going to try and get you on the bottom.
Coming down to 1, Groner starting to get within the range that the dirty air might start affecting that number 11. Maybe make it a little bit tighter. Start seeing that front end push up the racetrack. The draft will help him ever so slightly down the straightaways. But that dirty air is going to start coming into effect for that number 11. We'll have to see if he deals with it through 3 and 4. The way that Shane is driving, though, through 3 and 4, it leaves a lot of room on the bottom side of the racetrack for Philip Groner to find some clean air.
And also what Groner's doing right now, too, that's really helping his drive off these corners. He's getting right down there in that paint, right close to that transition between the asphalt and the pavement. A little bit cooler down there, a little bit more grip, because the paint always has a little bit more grip than the actual racing surface itself. And it's really helping him get a good launch coming through the center and out of these corners. Makes him have to work a little bit less for it.
Yeah, Shane's been going for a way later apex down into turn 1 and 2. Van Gisbergen has. And through 3 and 4, you just can't get the thing to rotate coming off of turn number 4.
Yeah, Shane's kind of on, what you'd refer to as a qualifying line, make straightaway as long as you possibly can. And that's good, aside from the fact that it does chunk off that right rear tire and, you burn off more stuff just going so fast so long. Whereas you got that methodical approach that Groner's got there behind him in the B2, and you see what's really paying off here on this long run. But it's going to be close.
It pays off, but does he have enough time? He's gotten there. He is firmly there within 0.4 of a second, cutting it down to 3 off of turn 4. Coming to 7 laps to go. Philip Groner is coming, and Van Gisbergen is just waiting. He's got nothing to do up here but defend. Can he find the victory? 7 laps to go. I'm shocked. I didn't think that Groner would be able to run him down so quick after it was so even for so long. And now if Van Gisbergen can hang on to it, I think I'll be just as equally as shocked. I think this is Groner's race to win.
And what I saw and what I think what really flipped the tide on this was SVG had 2 laps where he kind of got up into the stuff out there in the marbles. You saw him kick up dust on the front straightaway before he started getting loose because he got real close. I think maybe, got up there, dirtied his tires up, overheated them in the next couple laps, and it just really started to backslide from there.
Oh.
So you can tell he's really loose.
Groner's there within 1/10 of a second, within a car length of the 97. Later apex for Groner. Van Gisbergen gone for a second.
Guess who?
I almost pulled out my Jeff Burton impression there. The blink got me. I could use a Gisberger about right now.
Well, we got new food item on the GridVision menu. We'll just pause on that one and get back to the battle here.
Yep.
Groner
Pause, no
all
diddy.
over the rear bumper of Van Gisbergen, coming down into turn number 3. Is he going to pressure him into making a mistake?
Gisbergen's trying, man.
Oh, so loose. He goes into the middle of 3 and 4, and it just crosses up on him.
Does he have enough time? Is Van Gisbergen going to slip up, make a mistake? He's going to try to cut off that air coming down to the bottom. He's going to get the bumper just about. He shuts off the 11 of Philip Groner. He's going to hang on to the lead for now, but that was as tight as it gets.
Look who has worked his way up into this battle, too. 3rd place, Williams. Really close in on these two.
Groner with nowhere to go. Van Gisbergen blocking the bottom side of the racetrack. Gets a little bit better run out. I told you, as soon as Groner got up 0.3 of a second, it's been just a little bit tougher for him to get off the corner.
3 to go. The gloves are going to come off here soon. We know Groner's not going to want to sit here and ride around for 2nd place finish, especially when he knows he's so much faster than SVG, but right now he's kind of backsliding in that dirty air.
Well, and there's a little bit more on the line whenever you're a sim racer and you see a real accomplished race car driver come into the sim. You want to try a little bit harder and beat them. It means a little bit more to you to win that race than other races. And you got to think Groner's thinking that right now, trying to run down Van Gisbergen.
2 to go. Right now, you see Williams back there in 3rd place for an offset line, trying to figure out some kind of way that he can get up here and get into this as well.
The
2
top
laps
3
left, though.
all under a blanket.
2 laps left, though. You're going to need a big mistake out of that 97 machine up there in the lead.
Especially because it looks like he started to pull that gap back out a little bit. I mean, Groner got up to less than a car length entering turn 3 just a couple laps ago, and it stretched back out to just about 0.3 of a second. 2.5 coming down to the line to take the white flag. 1 lap to go from the Nashville Superspeedway.
SVG with a nice lead coming into turn 1, probably the best he's had in the past handful of laps. Can he keep it under him? Can he keep the right rear from kicking out too much? Great launch off of turn 2, a little close to the wall, but enough to hold on to fight into turn 3.
Shane Van Gisbergen. He got the track position, most of the track position from a pit strategy call. He stayed out when a lot of others pitted, and then he made the moves to get to the front, and he hung on to it for the rest of the race. Shane Van Gisbergen wins from the Nashville Superspeedway.
And I'm going to thank Darbs up here in the production tower. I finally won one of these picks and didn't kill him.
What a race from Shane Van Gisbergen, Gisbergen taking it to the stars of the iRacing B Open Series. The SOF races, man, on the Monday night are no easy races to win, and Shane came in and did it today. He took it to the top guys. Philip Groner is a top B Open racer, and he just outlasted him here on the older tires and brings home the checkered flag.
And look at the respect that all these competitors have for him. Everybody driving by trying to tap him on the door here to congratulate him on this victory. I don't think there's a person in here that's upset about seeing that.
Well, that does it for the B Open race. We're going to take our final commercial break, and then we're going to try to get in touch with our top 3 So stick with us. We might have some interviews on the other side. Welcome back to the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split. We have just finished up the racing action here tonight. Shane Van Gisbergen wins tonight from the Nashville Superspeedway. Philip Groner and John Williams round out your podium with Trent Dinkle in 4th, Johnny Avila in 5th, Charles Velasquez Jr. 6th, Matt Kocher in 7th, Dakota Ehrman 8th, Jonathan Evans in 9th, and Austin Price rounds out your top 10.
11th place, you have Daryl Hahn with 12th place, Ricky Udding. 13th place, you got Clinton Ingle, followed by Mitchell Lancaster in 14th. 15th, you have Brandon Burkhart, followed by Kyle Ether. 17th place, we got Scott Wise, followed by Robert Clifford. And 19th place, we got Mason Thompson with Brad M. Newman, round out your top 20.
21st was Cruz Cadell, Cameron Sarton in 22nd, Adriano Aguiar Gomez in 23rd, Chris Frost 24th, and Sean Anderson rounds out your 25-car field here tonight for the B Open race. In tonight's Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split on GridVision. And unfortunately, we could not get in touch with our top 3. Nobody has popped into the Discord here tonight for us, so that is going to do it here from us at GridVision. We're going to run you through our schedule real quick to give you guys an idea of what is ahead on the grid. A lot of racing action coming ahead this week. Tomorrow night, the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series from the Chicagoland Superspeedway. Wednesday night at the Nashville Superspeedway, the Thunderclap iRacing Series. Thursday night from the Glen, the High Slide Racing League. That's going to be at 8:20 p.m. Eastern. And then Friday night, the Nashville Superspeedway once again for the Ryco Performance. Friday night, NIS Top Split. We all saw how good that A Open race was. Be sure to show up for the NIS Open. It's going to be just as crazy. That's going to do it here from us tonight from GridVision. We'd like to thank you for watching and participating in the chat. For more information on getting your league broadcasted or starting your career in broadcasting, contact us on Facebook, X, or email us at info@gridvision.live. Congratulations to Shane Van Gisbergen for winning the B Open race here tonight from the Nashville Superspeedway. This has been Austin Edstrom alongside Sheldon Atkins and Austin Derbyshire. We will see you next time on the grid.